Hello, Kelsey.
Hello, Robert.
How are you?
I, uh, I just watched the second movie that we're about to review, so
Okay.
I'm not good, but we'll get into that.
So, welcome to another one of our Yimto Patreon reviews. You can see it right
Yes,
there.
welcome to the February
Guess it goes
edition
that
of
way.
Yimtope Patreon.
Yimtope reviews. There you go. Really quick, I wanted to show you something.
Okay.
So, we just did the stream for Resident Evil, right?
Yes.
And Ferdin comes in late all, "Well, I didn't get to see the
I didn't
puppy,
get to
right?
see that dog.
Well, I want to show him the puppy. Real
Okay.
quick. So, bring this child.
Bring me the child. Show me the
Bring
baby.
this child. Okay, so
Hi, chunky man.
look at this. Look at this ugly thing.
Chunkaruskis.
Look at the
Oh
ugly
my
thing.
goodness, your little
Look at the thing.
face.
Look at the thing.
Just wanna
Look at the
pinch
thing.
it.
Okay,
Uh.
so I've noticed something about him,
Okay.
and I want to show you real quick. So take off
Okay.
this banner. He looks like something to me, and I
All
hope
right.
I hope everyone will find it the same. Like, look at his little dome head. You see this it's like totally
Perfectly
round,
circular head.
rotund head,
Yeah.
right? He's so rotund. Doesn't he look like this? Look at this.
Oh my god.
Look at this and that. It's the exact same thing. This is that whole meme of like they're the same picture.
Yeah.
Look at their
Oh my god.
rotundness.
If that character had like bigger eyeballs, yes.
Yeah. So now when I'm mad at him, instead of calling him like a little gremlin, I go like you little Krillin, because that's Krillin from Dragon Ball. So
Okay.
yeah, he's he's a little Krillin. Mwah. Yeah, it's so steaky. Big
A
gone.
stinky baby.
Big gone. Bye
Bye,
bye.
bye, Auntie Ferdin.
Bye.
Bye, little boy. You're sweet. Big gone. Bulbasaur. You little
I still
Krillin.
can't get over his name.
So anyway, there you go. I just noticed that, and I pulled up that exact picture and held up my phone and him to Taylor, and she's like, "Fuck." That's it. That is exactly what he looks like.
That's him right there.
So yeah, he's a little Krillin. I just wanted to share that with the patrons, since everybody quite enjoyed him on the Resident Evil stream.
Yeah, star of the show.
Yeah. Oh, my Jinklebee's gonna stay with me for this one. Okay.
Okay, hi Jinx.
Well, she did watch the movies with us, so she's got a lot to say as well.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Okay, so you brought up the first of the movies that we watched. You
Yeah.
just said like, "Hey, I want to watch this."
Right. It's
So
one that's been like in my periphery. It's a horror movie
yeah.
called well, it's not even a horror movie. Okay, so it's called Vivarium.
Well, I guess we didn't know that beforehand. I'd almost call it surreal.
Yeah,
Is that a
it was
good word?
more it was more of like an art housey kind of film than I expected it to be.
Yeah. So, okay, so you bring up this movie called Vivarium,
Yes.
right? And I was like, oh, that sounds cool. And I was like, well, what's it about? So you told me, and I read the little synopsis, and it was just talking about how they're like kind of stuck in this house, right?
Yeah.
The description that you read on Wikipedia and stuff really does not justify what this movie is really about,
No, it doesn't.
because I would have never suggested Mother
Okay, well,
if I hadn't known that it wasn't really so much about the home.
so here's the thing though. So like after you had brought me this movie Mother, I was like
Okay.
when I watched Vivarium, I was thinking I knew nothing about Mother at all, just
Okay.
that Jennifer Lawrence was in it. And I was like, I don't think that these two are going to be a good matchup because like
Yeah.
I felt like Vivarium was such a weird standalone film. Like it's about just like
This.
should we get into Vivarium?
Yeah. Let's get into Vivarium because I also watched that one first.
Okay.
So
Yes.
when I had finished it, knowing a little bit about Mother, I was like, yeah, I maybe pointed this out for the wrong reason. Because I took it more as like being trapped just like in this one place. Because I
Right.
because I knew that Mother took place all in this one house. And that
Okay.
was the premise.
Yeah. So the thing with
It's the
Vivarium is like
context of both of them that's very different.
I think it's really similar actually.
Okay, okay,
So maybe we'll get into that. But
okay.
yeah, that's why I was impressed at the end. I was like, wow, so these two are actually a really good pair to watch together. I think this is
Yeah,
a good double feature.
okay.
If you have like the stomach and the stamina for it.
Yeah, that was Taylor's thing. But
Yeah, so
but but we'll get into that.
I watched Vivarium first.
So do you want to
And
lead with a rating first?
let me kind of mull over a rating because I'm trying to reconcile a
Okay.
few things about the movie still, I think.
Okay, well here. Let's get into it.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, splashy.
Yeah, I got that all over my hand. Okay. Ooh, very
Okay.
nice. Okay.
Crispy.
Let me try to sit up, get this glare off my glasses.
I know. We were just talking about
There
how
we go.
I
Okay.
hate this ring light because it's just like
I know.
there in my glasses all the
Well,
time.
see, we did one Patreon review where I just wore my contacts.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. I think that's just gonna have to be the norm. I need to not be lazy.
I just need to either get different lighting in here or
Yeah.
commit to contacts, but I don't think I'm going to do that. So
Well, it's just like God of War. It's just like wow over to the side, blinding me. Okay, so Vivarium.
So Vivarium. The movie starts. Let me open up my Google Notes because I keep notes when I watch these movies because I don't wanna miss a
Oh,
thing.
look at your little boy back
I
there.
don't wanna miss one smile.
Look at the little
Um,
wicket.
is Wicket back there?
He's
Hi,
so
Bubba. Oh, he
asleep.
passed out finally. The little man was just fucking all over everything in
Oh,
here.
what a sweet boy.
So I gave him catnip, and now he's
Oh, okay.
chilling. The magic dust. Okay, so Vivarium opens with this like really horrible, ugly bird footage.
Yeah.
And I was
So
like, what is happening here? So like it starts out with it's just like a really normal couple. Like there's I think it takes place in England from what I could gather,
something like that. Yeah.
a non-American country because the vehicle's driver's side was on the
I
opposite side.
I do think it was England because I remember being like, "Have I been here? Have I been to this place?" Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it stars Miss Imogen Poots
Imogen
and
Poots.
Imogen Poots. I had to say her name like 600 times when I was watching this movie.
Oh my god.
So it stars her and Jesse Eisenberg, which I thought was a really interesting
Yeah.
casting choice. Um,
You
so
know, I'm not a big fan of his,
really,
and I'm also a huge fan of his.
I feel the same because like he plays almost the same character every time you see him. Like
Yeah.
he's just like awkward and sarcastic and like Michael Cera if he was edgy, you know.
Yeah.
So I think that he brought kind of that necessary energy to this movie because the way so when it starts out, Imogen Poots, who plays Gemma, and Jesse Eisenberg, who plays Tom,
Yeah.
they're just like a really absolutely very normal couple. Like I was happy that Jesse Eisenberg didn't put on like a British accent. He just plays an American abroad, I guess.
Yeah.
And she works at the school. He's the gardener for the school. They're like boyfriend and girlfriend. We don't know how long they've been dating, but they seem like they have a pretty solid relationship.
Okay.
Um, they are going to like a realtor's office,
Yeah, so they've
and
like been dating for a while and they're trying to like take that next step and they're like, yeah,
yeah,
let's like find a home. And they've been looking. They've only been
yeah,
looking because he's like trying to start his own business. He's like trying to start his own like gardening business.
right. So he's talking about like I want to get a van eventually, you know, instead of having to
Yeah.
keep my shovel in the back of your Volkswagen.
Yeah.
Did you notice how much this Volkswagen was featured in this movie, by the way?
Yeah, it's
Like the
everywhere.
endless shots of the tires that are just like VW going around and around and
Yeah.
around. I was like, wow, they really paid out the nose for that advertisement. But so it opens with them like mourning the death of this little baby bird or something. It had like fallen out of a tree, and it's just it's an awkward scene because it's gross and also a little bit sad, but it
Yeah.
really sets the tone for the entire movie, kind of.
Yeah.
So
Well,
They
so
go to this.
did you pick up on what the deal with the birds is?
Did I pick up on the deal with the birds?
Yeah.
Should we talk about that now or after?
Okay. After.
Okay,
I
after.
just like wanted to know if like that came around for you later.
I have my thoughts on it, but I'm curious to hear yours.
Okay.
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 So they go to this realtor's office, and they're like little, you know how you have like model homes in realtor's office. If you've ever been to one, they have like
Yeah.
little scale models of like, this is what we have in this development. And there's just like this endless series of models of greenhouses that all look pretty much identical.
Yeah.
And the creepiest realtor
Dude, when we
is,
when he started talking, me and Taylor were both just like, "What is
I
going on?
know, I was like, he's gonna kill them.
Like,
Like,
what is up with this dude? He was so weird. We were like,
so
what the
creepy and
fuck?
strange. Like, he just has this air about him. Like, his eyes are a little bit too close together and his face is a little bit too long. He almost
Yeah, it was
looks
like
alien.
his inflections.
Yes.
He like couldn't quite grasp how to do normal speech.
Yeah.
He had like a weird just air about him. Yeah, it was
He
real
was
weird.
very, like, other.
Yeah,
Do
very
you want to pull
weird.
up a picture of him
Sure.
just while we're talking about this?
Here, hang on. Let
So,
me shoot this on over to the side. Boop.
yeah.
Okay.
So they go into this realtor's office, and this guy's there, and he looks so excited. He's like, "This is it. This is who I've been waiting for." And he's like, "I have the perfect house to show you guys." And uh, Imogen is
Oh,
like, or
that picture's so
Gemma,
perfect. Yeah.
Gemma is like, "Yeah, we may as well have a look at the house. You know, why not?" And Tom is like, we don't really have the time. That's the dude right there. That's him.
Like, look at this.
Look at his face.
Like already, if somebody came at me smiling like that, I already know I don't need to be talking to you.
He's so creepy. Like, I don't know if this actor has been in anything else, but this is his magnum opus. Like, this role right here.
Being the creepiest dude alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He looks, I don't even, I don't know how to justify his face. Like, they staged him so well for this movie that he just I can't even like put words to it. It's so creepy.
Yeah.
It gives me almost Uncanny Valley vibes.
Okay.
So creepy. So yeah, they go to this house, and
Raise this up.
it seems pretty normal at first. They go through this like development, and the thing with real estate developments is that most of the houses look pretty much identical anyway. It's all kind of matchboxy.
Yeah.
Everything is quite the same. But this one is particularly like everything is the same. Like nothing
Yeah.
at all is different anywhere. So I dug the overhead shots that they did, because they did this like big pan out thing where you could see the car is just like driving around this neighborhood,
Yeah.
and each one of the houses looks identical. It's like Edward Scissorhands, but if it was with an HOA, I don't know.
Yeah.
So so they get into their house that the realtor wants to show them. It's house number 9, and they're going through it. Everything is like relatively normal. There's a photo on the wall, like a painting of the house itself, which is strange.
Yeah.
And everything inside the house is just a little bit off. It looks kind of Stepford wivey, kind of Pleasantville, where everything is very,
See, I went straight to like Stepford Wives.
yeah,
That was like
it's
where my
all
mind
very like
immediately went.
intentionally perfect and prim and proper and nothing out of place.
Yeah.
Like there's a pink shirt laid out on the bed for her and a gray shirt laid out
Dude,
on the bed
I
for
hated that
him.
how it was like, yeah, we picked out clothes.
Yeah. And then they have
Well, for
oh my
me,
god.
it was when he was showing them around and he goes, "Oh, then there's this room. It's
Yeah,
a
the
nursery."
nursery.
And they're like, "Yeah, we're not really sure about kids." And he's like, "But it's perfect for a family."
Yeah.
Like, okay, that's weird to say.
Yeah, the thing about it, so like when they get there and into that room, it's blue and it's very boyish, and Gemma is like, "Oh,
Yeah.
for a boy, you've already got it planned out." And then he's like, "Do you want kids?" And she was like, "Oh, I don't know." And then the realtor goes, "Oh, I don't know," in like this extremely mimicky voice.
Yeah.
I was like, they should leave right now.
Oh, I didn't want them to go. Like, I was with Jesse. I was like, Tom, yeah, Tom, go. Because he's like,
Yeah.
yeah, no, we don't really want to do this.
No.
Like, if that smile saw me in a store, I'd be like, I'm leaving this place.
Yeah, like I don't need
Immediately, I
help.
leave.
Goodbye. Out of here.
Like, no, thank you. So
Yeah,
yeah,
so they go out into the backyard and the realtor turns and walks away. And when they come back into the house to like find him to fucking leave, they go out and like get into their car because he's just gone. They're like, let's just leave because this
oh
is
yeah.
extremely
Well, so
strange.
that's what's weird. He like goes, hey, go look outside, and he like shoos them outside, and he does not follow.
Yeah, he just like turns and walks the other direction.
So then they're just like, okay, like we're looking outside. Maybe we should leave.
Yep.
Like you went way too long without him being around.
Yeah.
Like I would want you there the whole time. And they turn
Right.
around and they followed him in his car. So like he drove and they followed in theirs. And his
Yeah.
car's fucking gone.
Yeah. So they go out front there. His car is absolutely gone. And they're like, okay, let's just get in the car and leave. And they get in the car and they start driving. And this is where those overhead shots come in. So the camera like zooms out and you see this like labyrinthine just maze of streets
Yeah.
against all these exactly same houses, just
Yeah,
like
I
placed
love
over
the
and over.
like overhead shot thing.
Yeah,
Because
it
they
was
do it multiple
dizzying.
times, yeah.
They do. Yeah, it's just like the camera spins and like follows the car as it's going
Yeah.
and it just nothing changes. The whole neighborhood precisely the same throughout everything. And so
Do
they
you
drive
remember
around and
the
around.
name of the place?
Yonder, which I think was a great development name.
Yes, that's right.
I
Okay.
love it. Where do you live? Oh, Yonder.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that's cool. Um, so yeah, they're going around and around in this development trying to find their way out, and they keep noticing like we're going in circles. Like we passed number 9 again. Are you sure this is the way we came in?
Yeah.
Well, and then they have a fight, and Jesse or Tom is like, "Let me drive," and they switch seats, and you can tell there's like some tension in their relationship that hasn't shown up before.
Yeah.
So they're still driving around trying to figure out like how the fuck to get out of this place, and eventually so much time passes and they've gone so far that they just run out of gas.
But what
They
kills me is that they run out of gas at number 9. Like the
Yes,
car dies there.
directly in front of number 9. So they decide to just go in and sleep for the night because like what else can you do? And
Yeah.
then when they wake up in the morning,
Well, when he was showing them the house, he pulled out the little basket of champagne and strawberries, and he
yes,
was like,
yeah,
"Don't you like strawberries?" And he was like, "Well," he goes, "Do you want champagne?" And she goes, "No, I'm driving." And then he goes, "Tom?" And he goes, "No, I'm driving."
yeah.
And he just stands there and like doesn't know what to do, so he just okay, so he puts it away. And when they come in to stay for the night, they eat. And he's like, "That's weird. These strawberries taste like nothing."
Yeah, they have no taste to them.
Yeah.
So yeah, they eat the tasteless strawberries. They go to bed and they wake up and at at the in the middle of the road, there's this like box, like an Amazon delivery, and it
Yeah.
just says like whatever developments on the side, like what was it, pristine properties or
Something
something
like
like
that.
that.
Yeah.
And they open it up and it's just like a box of like packaged food, like little racks of lamb just packaged individually, like vacuum sealed down, and like little shrimps just individually sealed down.
Yeah, it's just like a whole like ready to, like those military meal things or whatever.
Yes.
Just like
Yeah,
perfectly
exactly.
like doom bunker proofed, ready to go.
Yep.
But just like a whole supply for who knows how long. I mean, the box was so full of food.
Yes. And so they're kind of living in the house. Some time passes and they, are dressing in the clothes that are in there. She has that stupid pink shirt on. He's got
Yeah.
the gray shirt. And they are, I forget what happens after that. So they walk out into the road eventually because there's another box out there and
Well,
they
so
see.
he like climbs on top of the roof because he's
Oh
like, "I'm
yeah.
gonna find my way out." And when he gets to the top, she's like, "What do you see?" And he literally sees just an endless sea of those houses.
endless sea of those little peaked green roofs over and over and over, the exact same thing.
And
And
then
they
what kills
try,
me are the clouds.
yes, the
Like I picked
clouds.
up on the clouds immediately, and then it becomes a thing in the movie later.
Yeah.
But I
So like
immediately noticed these copy paste clouds
they're
in the sky.
so it's like if a child drew a cloud, like
Yeah,
they're cloud shaped.
yeah,
So they're just like individually copy pasted over and over, like little like a pattern in the sky, like dots over and over again.
yeah,
It really gave me kind of like Truman Show vibes almost.
yeah.
It was weird like that. Um so yeah, they have just like a whole experience where they're like trying to still get out and they're out of gas. So he's like, why don't we follow the sun to get out? Because they think that they're just going in
Oh
circles.
yeah, that shit
And
got me.
yeah,
Yeah,
like so
they
they
walk all
decide to just
day.
they decide to just go in a straight line all day, and they're going over fences and like through each and every one of these copy paste backyards. And one of the funny things that struck me is like at one point when they're walking through
Mm.
uh the yard, like Gemma just reaches over and grabs the chair without even looking at it because she's done it so many
Yeah,
times.
yeah.
And they just like keep climbing over these fences over and over, and they're both like exhausted, like sweat
I mean,
stained
for
shirts.
real, they look like they have just run a marathon.
Yeah, they look like they've
I
been
was like,
going
my god.
forever.
Oh, I mean, they probably didn't even eat that day.
Probably
They're
not.
running on nothing.
Yeah. So the sun kind of sets and they are starting to get exhausted, and they see a light on in one of the houses. And so they start like running toward it. They're like, yes, finally somebody. And they get to the house, and it's number 9, the house that they have been in. They
Yeah,
left the light on.
yep.
So
That broke me.
yeah,
I
I
was
was
like,
like, oh, they're
shit.
here forever.
Yeah,
So um then the next day they go out and they get their food delivery box, but they open the box and it isn't food this time. It's a slimy little baby.
yep,
Do you notice how greasy that baby was?
yeah.
It was like wet.
I mean, it was like he'd like just been born
Yeah, like a,
and
a
just like
fresh
plopped in the
little
thing. Yeah,
greasy slimy child. And the label on the inside of the box, it says raise the child and be released.
yeah.
And I was like, holy shit.
I was like, what did
So
Kelsey bring to me to
yeah.
watch?
I
I,
knew nothing about this movie going into it, so this was all like
actually,
new to me too.
while you're doing that, I'm gonna pull up some of the houses and stuff
Okay, yeah.
because I'm tired of
Like
looking at this guy. He's just like staring at me.
just monitoring our
Oh well, so there's them and the baby.
yeah, here's that slimy baby. Look at how tired they
So
look.
she's really cool. I love her. She's
I love
awesome.
her too. I want hair like that. Like I saw that and I was like, oh, maybe I'll get a haircut. Maybe I'll get bangs.
Yeah, so
um,
baby, all that good stuff.
yeah. And I don't know if this was before or after. I think
Oh, I
I think it's
loved
like
this too. How like so there's like
yeah.
the like overhead
Yes.
shot, all these homes, and then just there's the help on it.
Yeah, that was really like that got to me. I was like, oh man, they're trying.
And then I like
So
how later it just turns into fuck you.
yes. So they at one point they try to burn down the house because they're like, I'm so lost, nothing is gonna
Oh, that's when the baby shows up.
yeah, that's like right before the baby. So they
Yeah,
that's why
because see,
everything is
they're all
smoky
like,
here.
yeah,
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 so Jesse
they,
Eisenberg, Tom, like lights the curtains on fire and is like, fuck it, I'm sending up a smoke signal, like see if somebody can find us.
yeah,
And in the morning they wake up and see the baby in the box, and they look back and the house is still there as if it never burned down.
yeah,
So they're like, okay, I guess we're raising a baby now.
yeah. That's when I was like, all right, something's up in this movie.
Yeah.
Cause like, I mean, it's already weird, but I was like, all right, this place is just supernatural in some aspect.
Yeah.
I don't know why or how, but something's up.
Yeah.
Like they're in some
So
kind of experiment or something. This is
at
like
this
kind
point,
of what I
I was,
thought.
yeah, I was kind of wondering if it was like some kind of a government experiment, like they're trying to see
Yeah,
what it's like to raise a child in a sterile environment or something like that, or to have a couple raise a child without stability, because it's clear that their relationship is not built on a solid foundation.
yeah,
Um, so the next, like the meat of the movie, them raising the child, is it kind
For
of happens in phases. Like you see him
yeah.
grow up. Get a picture of the boy as he's young, because I want to see if you thought the exact same thing that I did.
So like
So when this boy shows up, what was your first thought?
this kid,
Yeah.
I mean, I was just like, oh, it's like a little Sheldon.
Yes, that was my second thought.
Okay.
My first thought was like, okay, that's a tiny realtor.
See, I never pieced that together.
Really? Okay.
I never
Yeah,
did.
that was my first thing when he came out in that little crisp white shirt and his slicked down black hair. I was like, that's another realtor. Like we're happening here.
Well,
Something is going
for me,
on.
it's right after this. Well, during this scene, I love this scene because he comes in the morning to wake them up, and when
Yeah.
they wake up, they literally just flip him off.
And he does it right back.
So it was right here that I never strictly just went like, oh, he's got to be relating to the realtor in some way. I never thought that because I was just wondering
Really?
what the fuck he was. Because right in this moment, they flip him off, and then he reenacts an argument between the two of them,
Yes.
doing their voices back and forth.
Yeah. So this
Like he
kid's voice.
turns, does a mean Jesse Eisenberg, turns, and then does an Imogen Poots, and it's like spot on.
Yeah. So I think what they were doing, like even when the kid is talking in his like normal voice that's not imitating one of his parents, he
Yeah,
sounds like the realtor, but like pitched up and slowed down.
yeah,
So I think what they did is they just like took the actual voices of the actors and actresses and just like warped them in some way and put them over whatever this kid was saying.
yeah. Because his voice is wild.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
he
dub is
sounds like a bunch
seamless.
is in there. Yeah.
Yeah. It sounds like he has like multitudes contained within him.
Oh yeah.
So I guess now I want to get into like the
Which means
metaphors that
I'm
they're kind
gonna
of.
I'm gonna have to close this because I wanna find one picture to show for you guys whenever we get to that part.
Okay. So when they're raising this kid, one of the big things is that he is literally like a reflection of them. So not only is he mimicking their voices spot on, but he'll mimic their actions at the same time they're doing stuff. So
Yeah,
like Gemma does this thing with her bangs where she'll just always fluff them like this.
yeah,
And he constantly does that to his forehead even though he has no bangs.
yeah.
So
I mean,
and he's
he copies them all the time.
yes,
Everything they do.
right.
Oh well, first of all, after we get them in bed, flipping off the kid, it's time for breakfast, and every morning his breakfast is Frosted Flakes or whatever, but
Yeah.
he unleashes this like demonic scream that doesn't end until the food is in his bowl.
It's like a horrible shriek, and it has to be the exact right amount. So like if they get
Yeah,
the
and the
milk
milk.
level,
Yeah,
yeah, if they get the milk level off at all, he shrieks until it's correct.
yeah, like it's not like he even has to take a breath. He just
Yeah.
the scream comes, the food must be there, and then when it's right, it stops.
Yep.
And then we get to one of my favorite ongoing bits throughout the whole movie,
Okay.
which is hang on, not centered there. One of my ongoing bits. He calls them mom and dad,
Yes.
and I love every single time he calls her mom. She goes, "I am not your fucking mother,"
Yes.
and then leaves him to do whatever. And I was
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, I'm not your fucking mom." I love
Nice
this
fucking
lady.
mom. So I think at this point with the movie, what I was starting to gather from the movie is that it's kind of an allegory for suburban living and for motherhood.
Okay.
Because so the whole thing is that like they were looking for houses and they didn't intend to move into this house. They didn't intend to settle, but it's just something that happened.
Yeah.
And they didn't intend to become parents. It's just something that happened. And they didn't intend to do anything. Like everything in this is just happening to them.
Yeah.
And they're just kind of like rolling with the punches. Like if we do whatever we can get out of this cycle eventually. Like we raise the
Yeah.
kid, we'll be released. And they're trying to find like breaks in the monotony somehow. Like Jesse Eisenberg gets really into digging a fucking hole in the front yard,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
that part,
I love their like human breakdowns that they have.
yeah, they do have really like genuinely human moments that are just like,
Hey. Well, yeah. So like Imogen, there's a moment where, because the kid, I don't remember how he gets onto the barking thing, but he
I think
runs
that was just
around
like a thing that he does.
non fucking stop, just woof 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 woof. But he doesn't even sound like a dog. He just says woof.
Yeah,
So he can imitate them, but he doesn't do the animal right.
right.
You know, what is the matter, baby? Why are you whining? You won't go out? Okay. So he keeps doing that, and there's this moment where she is like sitting up against the washing machine with her head right on it so that the sound literally drowns him out and she can't
Yeah.
hear anything that's going on. You
Yeah,
know?
she's just like doing anything to feel something that's not raising this child.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of also the thing about raising this kid is that like they do these scenes with him, screaming and kind of being
A
just
menace.
non-verbal in so many ways. Like
Yeah.
he wants something but he can't tell you what he wants, which often is like what happens with babies. They scream and they cry and you're like, what do you fucking want? I don't know what to do with you.
Yeah.
Did I feed you wrong? Do you need to sleep? Like what can I do? And it
Yeah.
also made me think about like raising a special needs child, perhaps, because they can't communicate with you what they need, but they know that it's wrong, so they're trying to get you to correct it. And if they're nonverbal, like an autistic child, screaming is
Yeah.
like a common thing.
Yeah.
So
See,
it
I took this movie strictly at what is this fucking thing?
really, I
Oh yeah.
like
I
dived into
was
it in my head.
I was only trying to figure out the mystery of like what is happening to these people.
Okay.
That these people
Yeah.
got wrapped up in something bad because they tried to be nice and let this guy show them a house.
Right. Yeah.
Moral of the
For
story:
me,
don't be nice to people.
that's the moral of the story. Yeah, in my head I was like diving into the allegory of it, just like what is this movie trying to communicate? And I think that the theory that I landed on of like suburban living and just
Mhm.
there is no escape from the monotony, and just like if you do what you're expected to do, raise the
Yeah,
child, move into the house, maintain a life that is a semblance of normalcy, it
yeah,
you just do that, and then what is your reward at the end of it? You get to be finished living, you're released, you die. What is it?
yeah.
So yeah, so in breaking the monotony, he's digging in this fucking hole.
Well,
And
okay, so he was smoking, and she
mhm,
doesn't know that he's smoking,
right.
and he like still has this pack of cigarettes, which I mean we technically don't know how long they were there.
Yeah,
We do
so
get an idea later that this kid grows very, very fast.
extremely fast because he's like,
Cause
measure me, and they like measure him against the
oh yeah,
wall.
and it's
So
like days. It's
yeah, they
mere
they mark the
days.
line. She's like day 96, and he looks like an 8-year-old, and they got him as a
Oh
baby,
yeah, so like this picture here, I think that's him on like day.
like 90 something.
Yeah, so it's been like 3 months, and he's this.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I was like, okay, see, that's why I'm just like, what is going on?
yeah. So like later on down the road in the montage, kind of
Uh,
it, this movie, I call it a montage. It's like a montage drawn out to the length of 90 minutes almost. So like the
yeah,
kid ages up to adult level. He looks 28, somewhere in that range.
yeah.
And
Oh, so he's smoking,
yes, he's smoking.
and he's trying to throw away the cigarette real quick because he doesn't want her to know that he has them still.
Right.
And when it lands on the grass just like runs from it.
Yeah, it like opens up, like
Yeah,
almost stop motiony.
yeah. It just kind of like goes "Wee," and like runs away from the heat of it. So he's like, "There's stuff under here." And when he was digging at first, I thought he was pulling up like styrofoam.
It looked like Play-Doh.
That's what I thought. I was like, okay, this is a fabricated place.
Yeah, absolutely. It all looked like built, manufactured.
Yeah, but then he got to dirt and was actually digging up dirt later.
Right, because he got down like 15 feet underground, like his whole ass ladder.
Yeah.
He had that huge ladder with him because he's a gardener.
Well,
So
we were watching it and he got done with the first day, and I was like, Psh, I've seen a movie where kids had to dig 5x5 holes every day, and you barely went anywhere. You suck.
yep.
So yeah, he gets way into digging, and that's pretty much all he wants to like. Like he becomes obsessed with doing this other thing because it's the only thing that he can do, because she
Yeah,
wants
that
to
was his
help, and
thing.
he's like, let me do this. It's the only thing like these hands can do, you know?
Yeah. So that was the thing too, is like he runs away from the responsibility of raising this child. That's their goal, raise the child and you get to leave. And he pretty much hands all the responsibility over to Gemma, who becomes like the
Yeah.
surrogate mother of this thing, the I'm not your fucking mother.
Yeah.
And it it was really kind of a commentary, I think, on gender roles. So like his whole thing is like, all I want to do is go outside and dig a big hole in the yard.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, what am I supposed to do all day? And he's like, I don't give a shit. I'm gonna dig. You do what you need to do.
Yeah.
So there is a scene too where like he has a full on like meltdown and actually tries to kill the kid. So he,
Okay, so they are just sitting out in their car because the car is still
yeah,
there. I mean,
right,
it's been 3 months, so I mean, it's not too far down the road, I guess. And they try to turn it on, and the battery still works.
yeah.
It's like the
It's out of
battery
gas, but they
works.
still have battery.
Yeah, and they're like, "Oh my god." Well, okay, so they note that all the food, all the shrimp, all the meat, everything that's in that box that they get delivered, none of it tastes like anything.
Yeah,
The air, there's no smell. They can't smell anything. They have no sensations.
everything in this place is just sterility.
Yeah, they have nothing. So they hear music coming out of the car, and they're like, "Oh my god, like we're not in safe." There was an outside world
Yeah,
that has to be real, and that like renews his hope for wanting to do the digging, because he's like, there has to be a way out.
right.
He's obsessed with getting out. See, you went allegory, and I went problem at hand.
Yeah,
I was just like, no, this child is not something I should care about in any way. He's not human, and it's evil.
right.
Probably, I would think. I don't know that
Yeah.
yet, but
Well, so eventually they do learn so that like the kid he just kind of like disappears one day and Gemma goes looking for
yeah,
him and like can't find him and she's running around the neighborhood and it's a whole maze situation and it's creepy, there's fog, and then eventually she comes home and the kid is just standing in the front yard at the hole like looking down at the dad,
yeah,
or I see the dad, Jesse Eisenberg.
yeah.
um and he has this book in his hands
Hmm.
and the book when he Gemma opens it up and it's just like full of this weird language that's almost like the Zodiac killer code.
Yeah, here, let me see if I
And
can find it real quick. Because it looked like the unknowns to me from
yeah,
Pokemon. It's just symbols.
yeah, just weird symbols.
Which
And
is
it has these
also,
like,
he watches TV every night, and it's just this
yeah,
like static, but those symbols are in the static.
right. And there's like wavy lines and stuff. And you see that reflected in the static as well. And it's
Yeah,
almost too reflected in the labyrinth of the neighborhood. Like when it
yeah,
pulls out really far, you can see kind of that's how things are designed. So I'm not sure what that was all supposed to symbolize, but it was all very interconnected. And
here we go.
so
Man, I'm able to
Gemma,
find all this stuff. Here you go.
knowing that the kid likes to imitate things, Gemma is like, okay, do an impression of me. And he
Well,
does an impression of
so
her.
well, so he's got the book,
Uh
and
huh.
she goes, "Where'd you get this?" And he won't say anything, and she goes, "Did you meet somebody?" And he just says, "Yeah." So he disappeared and met with somebody.
Yeah,
We don't. I don't think we ever really learn who,
I don't think so.
unless you're going to tell me that it was the realtor.
I have a theory that
Okay.
we can get into.
But so, yeah, like he's going out and meeting people, and he does it daily now. Like he leaves
Yeah,
every morning and goes to meet somebody. And so she's all like trying to pry for information.
yeah,
And she's been getting close to him with the book because
right.
when they were in the car, they heard the music and they started dancing, and the kid started to dance with him.
Yeah,
And he
in his
trips
like
Jesse.
alien way.
Yeah. And he hits his head, and that's what makes him like get super all pissed off.
Right.
And then he tries to lock him in the car and let him just like suffocate and die.
Yeah,
Because he's like, if it dies, they have to let us go.
right.
Like, that's how we get out now. And she feels bad for him and goes to take care of him, pulls him out of the car, and then she gets really close with him. Because she's all like, what's up with the book? But he won't tell
Yeah,
her. So she's showing him the clouds, and like, well, where I come from, clouds are different shapes. They don't look like this. And blah, 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 blah.
right.
But so, yeah, she's trying to pry for information because he just keeps going. So she's trying to trick him.
Yeah,
And she's like, all right, how can I get him to tell me who he's meeting with this book? So yeah, she's like, do an impression of me.
Yeah, so he does
So
a little impression. He's like,
yeah,
whatever, and like fluffs his bangs that aren't there.
whatever.
And
I'm
then
so
she's
ready
like,
to go
okay,
to this
that was
picture.
great. Oh man, you have the picture up,
Oh
okay? So
yeah,
yeah,
I've been
she's like,
waiting.
do an impression of Tom, and he does like a little Jesse Eisenberg impression.
Yeah,
Do an impression of a dog, and he goes woof woof woof. And she's like, okay, do an impression of who you met. And then
he goes, blah!
yeah, he like goes "Rah!" and his neck
Well,
like
so
puffed up.
she was looking in the book, and there's a diagram of
Yeah,
people, and they do like frogs, and like can extend out their throats, and he starts fucking doing it.
yeah, it's absolutely nasty and
Look
like
at it!
visceral.
Oh my god!
So gross.
And
And
this is when I was like, "Yep, we need to kill this kid. Like, we
yeah,
need to
I
be
was like,
done.
something is wrong here.
Like,
And
he's
like
not human now."
Gemma's reaction, she's got acting chops. Like just the ugly sob that
Oh,
she
I
puts
love her,
on.
man.
It's so good.
I saw a picture of that actually. Yeah, right there. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
she's. I mean, can you imagine you're like taking care of this kid, and then it does that?
Yeah, that is a good ugly cry right there.
I mean, she is horrified
Absolutely. And why wouldn't she be?
because she's starting to kind of take on this mother role. She's like, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
she's
take
like, I
care of
may as
him.
well be a mom if I'm stuck here. And then that happens, and she's like, I'm still not your
She's like,
fucking mother.
nope, I'm done. Like, I know for a
Yeah.
fact I cannot ever care for you properly.
Yeah. So yeah, so the kid grows up into like a 20 something, 30-ish man, and they just kind of continue on with their lives. And eventually Tom, like, he gets this cough that has been like escalating throughout the movie,
Yeah,
and it starts to become like really bad. Like he's gotten sick. Don't fall, baby.
like to the
And
point that she has to bathe him.
yeah, and he's like covered in bruises, which I didn't really
Yeah,
like comprehend that part, I guess. Like, is he just bruised from digging so
just
much,
his
or
manual labor all day, I guess. You know.
yeah, he's just like falling apart at the seams essentially.
Yeah, he is.
So, but so handsome.
Well, he like doesn't even eat with him.
Yeah.
She like feeds him in the hole or
Don't touch
like
the mic.
in his room or something.
Yeah.
And like they don't even sleep together now.
No.
Like they sleep in these separate rooms now.
Yeah, so they show them early on, like they have, still an active sex life somehow in this horrible situation,
Yeah.
and like the kid just watches from the door like a
Well,
creeper.
I'm wondering if that's like the only sensation they still had because they
Yeah.
can't taste, they can't smell, so it's like that was all they had.
Right.
So they indulged heavily until I think it's when he starts digging and she's
And when
like,
he like,
you know what? You bother me because you don't let me
well,
participate.
I think it was also like the fact that he tried to kill the kid and she didn't agree
That's
with it
true,
because
yeah.
they had the whole like he attacked her afterward because
Yeah.
she was like, give me the keys, and he held her down. He was like, you can't let this kid live. And you could see their relationship there. It was like
Shoulda
kind of over at that
listened.
point.
Should have listened.
Yeah.
A little bit.
So like where are
So,
we at in the plot?
the kid's basically grown up now.
Yeah.
Tom is just on his last fucking leg. He's got
Yeah,
nothing
so
else going on.
he's really fucking sick now. And like there's a point where he is he's on the ground out front, and he just looks like broken, like he's on his
Yeah.
last legs. And Imogen Poots, she's like,
Pates.
you have to like call a doctor or something, and like begging the kid, like, please let us out of here.
Yeah.
And the kid alien is like, maybe it's time he was released. And this really
And so
like
he's
ominous
like
air.
he's like an adult by then.
Yeah.
So here, Vivarium. I mean,
Vivarium kid adult.
here we'll just go with this one because I mean this is him as the adult.
Mm-hmm. An
I mean,
equally
like,
creepy person.
Yeah. Because I mean, like he like grows up.
Yeah.
He's a man.
He's a full-grown human Ishmael.
And yeah, so he's got his book. He's leaving for the morning, and she's like, "You have to help us." And he's like, "Maybe it's time he was released." So you think like, well, maybe he's gonna go meet his people, and like they just take him and leave her to do the work.
You would think.
Now, doesn't mean they take him somewhere good, but they would
Right.
just like make her think that so that she would keep doing the work, right? But she sits there with him, and they just talk until he dies.
Yeah, like they basically just kind of reminisce on the early stages of the relationship, like when they got together, and it's a sweet moment. They're remembering that they did have something good together for a
Yeah,
while. And his last words is to her is he says, "You were home,"
yeah,
which this brings it kind of around to the whole theme of like she is his home and
yeah,
she is also the home for this alien child.
yeah,
And like the home that they're living in right now is just this shell of something that they're stuck in.
yeah,
What is tying everything together is the mother in this situation. So like
yeah,
she unwittingly has become home for this broken man and home for a kid that she never wanted. So it's very much like a kind of a toxic relationship kind of a thing
mm-hmm.
where it it really like draws on the themes of just women becoming unwilling caretakers for partners and children that they either don't want or
Yeah,
shouldn't have to rehabilitate.
yeah,
So that was like the big theme of it for me. So at that point, yeah, he dies and Imogen is just left there kind of like sobbing on him.
yeah.
She does
She
another
just
like
like
big ugly cry and
has
it's
to
really
like sleep
sad.
next to him until the kid finally comes home for the evening.
Yeah, and he comes home with like another fucking box, and you're like, what's in gonna be in this one? And he pulls out a body bag. Oh, we didn't mention earlier. So when he's digging in the hole at one point, he gets like so far down, he finds this like corpse in a body bag down there.
Yeah,
And so at this point, the kid like pulls out the body bag and is like, okay, time to just seal up that dude. And they,
like oh, she gets so mad at him because he goes, maybe it's time that he was released. He leaves, so kid doesn't know that he'll die,
right,
or or that he has died. But he comes back with the bag, so she's like, that was your intention of being released this whole time.
yep.
Because he just goes, here we go. Can I say though, coolest body bag of all time
I
because
know, it's
it
got like that
ziplocks
Korean
them
square.
just like the food. No, like yeah, they zip him up and he just like presses it and it goes
Yeah, it
and just
like
like
sucks it
suctions
on him and
down.
makes his nose all squished down.
Which, well, I can't say that yet, but there's another bag later that didn't do that and that bothered me.
It kind of did.
Not really. Like his
Not
for
to the
sure.
same
I mean,
intensity.
he was just like pushed
Yeah.
over, yeah.
Jesse Eisenberg does have kind of a schnoz though, so
And that's another like him dying and him in the bag.
uh-huh.
That was two moments that I was like, he's a good actor.
He is a good actor.
Because if that bag had just smushed me, I'd have probably
I'd have been
moved or
cracking up.
something.
Yeah.
But I mean, he was just dead.
Yeah.
So he did a good job.
So
Oh, and then the kid just throws him in the hole. Literally
chucks him in
dumps
the
him in
hole.
there.
Completely unceremoniously, just like, well, on with life. Throws him in the hole. And so Imogen
And
sits
this is
in
when we get to the shit.
yeah, so this is where the movie like really kind of flips on itself.
Yeah.
So like Imogen or what's her face? Gemma is
Yeah.
sleeping in the car overnight because that's the only place. The one sweet thing that I saw in this, so at the very very beginning of the movie, she's like, "Aren't you gonna change your T-shirt because we're going house hunting?" And he's in this like gardener's T-shirt.
Yeah.
So he's like, "Fine." He takes it off and he puts it in the back seat. And when we see Imogen in the car, she's like wearing that yellow shirt with the gardener stains on it, just
Yeah.
like remembering him. I was like, that's really sad. And so, um, so what happens? Yeah, she's in the car, and then
She's just
the kid,
waiting for him.
she's just waiting,
I
just
love
laying in
it.
wait. The realtor kid is gonna do his rounds for the morning, so he like gets his book and he goes to walk out, and then she fucking runs up from behind him. She comes out of the car. She's holding this pickaxe, one of the
Yeah.
gardening tools that they had, and she just fucking smacks this alien man across
Literally
the
catches
face,
him right here, just
right in the cheekbone. And the noise that came out of him was
yeah.
such a screech. It was unholy.
And then
like
this is when I mean, my mouth was open for about the
Yeah.
next 3 minutes.
Yeah. So like the alien kid runs over to the curb, is like ah! And like
On like
scurries
all
over to it
fours. Yeah.
on all fours, like terrifying. He peels up the curb like a
Yeah.
big
He
cartoon
grabs the
hole.
curb and just goes whoop.
Yeah, just it's like Bugs Bunny, just like and
Yeah.
like dives inside of it, and you see him like scurry down kind of a red hallway and go in this door,
Yeah.
and then Gemma is like, I'm gonna follow him because what else can I do? So she like catches the curb before it like goes back to being a curb,
Yeah.
and she dives in there, and the gravity is totally off, and she's like falling and like smacks against the end of the hall, and she gets through the door, and she's like chasing this guy, and yeah, the next like 3 to 5 minutes is just
So
this crazy fever dream.
me and Taylor had different takes on that moment, like
Okay.
like that whole scene. So I mean, these things are clearly just otherworldly in whatever way they are,
Yeah.
because I don't know what they are, right? So I thought it was like she went through like space and time and
Okay.
was in different dimensions where this is all happening concurrently.
Yeah, that's kind of what I take away from it.
Where Taylor took it as different time periods of the same place. Like
No,
she's
I
just going
think
through the history of this time
yeah, so the
or
way that I
like
took
this
it,
moment.
they always come back to the house as number 9.
Yeah,
So I figure since we're seeing all these other like layers of things, maybe they're universe number 9. So like
maybe.
in
See, I
house
need to
8.
watch it again and see if there were if she ever saw another address.
I don't think so because I was looking for it. I was like
Okay.
I was really on high alert during this time, like looking for clues and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So she goes through and just kind of continues falling through dimensions and kind of sees
Yeah.
glimpses of other people's lives.
So
So
there's another couple having sex with another boy watching.
yeah,
There's the guy is always gone. It's
the guy's
always she comes
always
across the
gone.
lady and just like they're crying at the table or something.
Yeah,
You
which
know?
is another thing. Like the women are taking on the emotional labor of raising the children in each one of these fucking scenarios,
Yeah.
and the dude is always just fucked right off.
Yeah.
So that's another like point of the motherhood thing that it keeps coming back to. It's like all of this falls on the mother being the responsible one over and over and over, no matter how many universes down we go.
Yeah.
So they she ends up like just getting sucked through the floor and like falling all
Yeah.
crazy through all these universes, and eventually
Just gets
uh
spit back out in her own.
yeah, like falls down the stairs. And at this point, is she just like what what kills her in the
I
end?
think it's that fall down the stairs. I mean, she like
Yeah,
she tumbled bad
it was a
because
pretty brutal fall.
it spit her at the top of the stairs and she just tumbles like onto her head and neck down at the
Yeah,
bottom. I mean, she
right.
just got wrecked.
And the alien kid that she has raised is basically just waiting there with a body bag, like, okay, it's your turn. Like, get in
Yeah,
the fucking
he
bag.
like takes her upstairs, gets her all tucked into the bag, and he's all like, "Okay, well, you've served your purpose. It's the child's time to spread his wings and go."
Yeah.
And he's all like, "You've been a good mother or whatever."
And he starts
And
to
starts
zip
to
her
she
up.
goes, "Wait, one more thing. I'm not your fucking mother."
It's so
And then
good.
zips it up,
Zips her ass up, chucks her in the hole.
chucks her right in the hole. Now, I don't know if she was fully dead. I think he chucked her in
Yeah,
there alive.
I think so too.
Just
Like
done with you now, though.
she was going to die.
Well,
And
yeah,
that's another thing is like when you're done with your mother, in some cultures you just discard her and you're done. Like she's
yeah,
raised you, she's done her job. Like now it's me time and I'm going to go out into the world and do my thing.
yeah.
So that was kind of looping in on that. So
So
the
then
kid
he
like
fills up the hole.
he chucks her in the hole, and then he gets a gas can and fills up their VW and like drives it.
Well, hang on. So he fills up the hole, buries them, and the
Yeah.
grass just like takes back over, like
Yeah.
nothing has happened.
Yeah.
And now we're
And
back to the same spot.
it was so like seamless too that I didn't even actually notice the grass covering it up until
Yeah,
they zoomed out. I was like, "Oh, the grass is back."
we rewound it because I was like, wait, did it grow back, like snap or did it
Yeah.
gradually do it? So we actually rewound it and watched it right then. And yeah,
So did it
it just
like suck back in like that?
so it just kind of starts coloring in green. Like the grass doesn't actually move in. It just like
Okay.
fades into green.
Wow.
And he's
This
just
movie
like,
was
okay, boo,
intense.
boo, 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 boo. So yeah, he fills
Yeah.
up the car,
He
takes
fills up the
off.
car. He drives it on back to the realtor's office where it all began.
Yep.
And that first realtor is just sitting in his chair, just like, I'm so old.
Oh,
Just
for
like,
real. He's so emaciated
he's so
and
like,
withered.
yeah, withered on
Yeah.
his last legs. And he gets there and he just like reaches into the file cabinet, pulls out one of those fucking body bags, and is like, in you go. And then
But what's he
but
do with this one?
okay, so he vacuums it down and then he just like grabs at the base of it and rolls this
He just
fucker up
rolls him
like a
up.
sleeping bag. Like a Boy Scout rolling his sleeping bag.
He straight
I
up
was
just
like,
rolls him up. No crunches. He just
no crunches. Just like the alien deflated or something on
yeah,
him
and
and
puts him back in the filing cabinet.
just put him right in the filing cabinet and sits down and waits for his next
And that
customers.
is this moment here.
Yes.
That's his face. He just sits there, and then it ends with people walking in, and
Yeah.
then it's just like hello, and it starts all over again. The
Yeah.
cycle repeats anew.
This movie was really fucked up.
So now I will direct your attention back to the birds.
Yeah, so the baby birds, like it was a weird thing. So like the mother in the bird's nest is giving her all and she's like, feeding them like a mother bird does to her babies.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if the baby bird has like fallen out of the nest and has died or
Okay.
what was your take on this one?
Well, so Tom tells you what happens. He goes, "Oh, that's this type of bird," and says what happens. That
Oh.
whole beginning with the birds
Yeah.
is this entire movie told right then.
Okay.
The entire movie's told by the birds right there.
Wow.
So it's a specific type of bird. I can't remember what it is, but this bird will go to. So it finds a nest that already exists.
Yeah.
It lays its egg in that nest.
Okay.
And then when it hatches, that bird pushes all the other birds out, killing
fun.
them, and basically becomes a parasite on this mother who actually continues to feed it until it gets bigger and stronger than her.
Okay.
It's a
Yeah.
real bird.
That's
This is a
really
real
messed
thing
up.
that happens. And that's what this thing does.
Okay, yeah, so it's just like literally the movie just condensed down into
Those
birds.
birds. So I thought it was just like more showing just a different side of this like parasitic behavior kind
Yeah.
of thing. And then here you are all like moms and dads and children.
Yeah.
You know? Like I took none of that. I was just like monster. This thing's a
I'm
monster.
surprised. Yeah,
Like,
okay.
I was in like monster movie mode with this one.
Okay.
Like that's how I just took the entire thing.
Yeah, all right.
So
Yeah,
Taylor
so
wanted me to tell you though, because she hates movies about aliens. And this is
Oh, really?
some type of alien thing.
Yeah.
And she was like, I just want you to note that she loved this movie.
Really? Okay.
She loved it. She was like, I don't even like this type of movie because it's clearly aliens, but I dug it. She's like,
Yeah.
nothing happened in this movie, but I was entranced. Nothing
Yeah.
happens really. There's no real conflict. Nothing is happening. It's just like you said, this like series of events is just unfolding, and we watch.
Right. Yeah, it's just things that are happening to this couple. Like they never
Yeah.
really they're not active participants in their own life. It's just like they're taking it upon them
Just
as
here
it
it
happens
is.
to them.
Yeah.
Like we're moving into suburbia, we're having a baby, this is what people do.
Yeah.
And I thought it was interesting that the movie is kind of a loop on itself. Like the cycle is starting anew at the end of the movie.
Yeah. So it's a cuckoo bird.
Oh, cuckoo bird? Oh, yeah. Okay, I remember that conversation now.
I think. I guess it's this one? No, it's not that one.
That's
One's
where
Ash-
Gemma's
yeah.
talking to the kid. And the kid's like, "Why does this happen?" And Gemma's like, "Nature's cruel."
Yeah, so these things, this is just how they survive, and they happen to be the ones that got pulled into this parasitic behavior for
Yeah.
these things. And I wish they'd have fucking killed that kid.
I know.
I
Even Gemma,
hate
like at one
him.
point, she's like, "Why didn't I let you kill him when he was young?" And then
I
Tom's like, "'Cause you're a
know.
good person."
I was like, good, just never be good. Be good
Yeah,
is
never be
bad.
good. Don't let people sit in your house. It leads to bad shit.
Yeah, so this bird thing is like the representation of the movie right there.
Okay.
So yeah, so that's what I was simply in movie mode,
Yeah.
and I have a feeling that's how we're gonna be on Mother too.
Okay.
I mean, like I know exactly what Mother's about,
All right.
like 100%. I know what it's about,
Okay.
but like I was very intrigued by how you took this movie. It's like we almost watched two different movies,
Really? Yeah,
kind
it
of.
is because I, I was not in monster mode at all for this. I was just watching it like trying to pick it apart.
Oh man, I was simply just like, what is this creature? It needs to get out of here. I hate it.
Yeah, usually for movies I can like turn it off, and like turn off that part of my brain and just
Yeah.
enjoy it for a piece of media as it is. But I think this one, like the allegories that it had at times were so clumsy that it was kind of obvious that they were trying to do
Okay.
something. So I was really trying to pay attention to like, okay, what are they trying to tell me here?
Yeah.
So overall for a rating, I'm having a hard time placing a number on this because
I'm
I
actually
I
going high.
really what?
I'm actually gonna go high.
Hi, okay.
I like this movie.
I
I
thought it was a really good movie.
I think it's it's like you said, it's an art movie. So it's
Yeah.
not really about being big or grand. It's all about just that substance and context within.
Yeah, so I think that I would give it a 7.5 because
I was gonna
I
go about an 8.
enjoyed it.
Okay.
Okay, I enjoyed it and I might watch it again even like to
Yeah.
show it to somebody, but to it was really heavy-handed with its metaphors at times and I was like they could have been a little bit more subtle, but
I'm thinking if you think this one was heavy-handed, can't wait to see what you think
oof.
about the next one.
Oh my god, mother.
Because it is not subtle in any way. It's just like,
Okay.
here's what I am.
Yeah,
Take it, you know?
take it for what it is. So should we get into Mother?
Sure. So now I am more understanding of how you're like, I thought they were very similar.
Yeah, they were extremely similar. Like I
Okay.
was I was shocked at the similarities by the end of this because going into Mother, I had literally zero idea what it was about.
I'm gonna
I
pull
think I
up
was
the
confusing it with
poster.
another movie because isn't there a
Oh,
movie
that's so
where
small.
Jennifer Lawrence plays like an assassin lady and she's in like that red dress or
Oh,
something?
that's Red Sparrow.
That's the one that I thought this was.
Oh yeah, I can see your confusion
Yeah,
when
so
you're like,
that's
why
why
did
at the
he talk
beginning I
about
was like,
that?
yeah, I was like, why would you equate these two?
Okay.
But now after having watched this
Oh,
movie, so you
actually,
did,
I think that's the one that I would like to have.
yeah, I love this cover.
Well, so this was, I guess, the more normal one, but this is the one that I think really hits this movie a lot more.
Yeah,
I love this one.
right.
So, first of all, it's directed by Darren Aronofsky.
Yeah, which I did not
This
know.
guy is all about up here. So that was the difference when me and Taylor watched it. She's never seen a movie that he's made before.
Okay.
And really, I've only seen like one or two before.
Yeah,
But one of
same.
his other movies is like one of my all-time favorite movies. The
Which one?
Fountain.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
I fucking love The Fountain. It's so good. It's so fucking weird though.
Yeah,
He makes weird movies, but his
he
movies
does.
are not about what's happening. It's about what it means.
Yes.
So I was watching this movie all about what does this mean? And Taylor
Yeah.
was so mad the whole movie. Why are you letting these people in your fucking house? She was like, they are disrespectful ass motherfuckers.
Odd.
She was getting so mad at the fact that these people were just so like barging into her home and stuff.
This movie felt like a bad fever dream. Like you ever have those dreams where people are just acting like animals and you're like, "Can
Yeah.
you control yourselves?" and
Yeah.
nobody's listening to you? Like I feel like I've had this dream before. Like I have been in this situation where I'm just like telling people to do something like, "Get
Yeah.
out of my house. Don't do laundry here." And they're
I
just
mean,
not.
we'll get to it, but the part where they kept sitting on her sink
Oh my
Taylor
god.
could not handle. She was so irate at this movie. I've never seen her get so mad at a movie before.
Get off the fucking sink.
But I knew she was into it towards the end.
Yeah.
T- so Taylor is one of those. She's very expressive in her body. Her body
Okay.
language says everything.
Yeah.
Right? And at the end of this movie, like we were sitting on the couch, we're like this, like we're just enjoying the movie. The last like 20, 30 minutes or whatever, when it gets wild,
Yeah.
she like threw the blanket off and was just on the edge of the seat.
I was the exact
was
opposite.
In it.
I had the blanket
Oh,
up
you were
to my
just-
chin. I was just like watching like this.
Okay. So, Mother.
Yeah.
It starts with this house that is like completely charred.
Yeah.
And it's just like magically fixing itself.
Yeah. And you like the first scene that it opens with is this woman's face, and she is like burned the fuck
Yeah.
up. Like she's nasty.
Yeah. And then everything fixes. This lady just appears in the bed, and Jennifer Lawrence just kind of like turns towards the camera, and we get started with the movie.
Yeah, she rolls over and she goes, "Baby."
So, it's Jennifer Lawrence and Javier Bardem.
I love
Fucking
them.
love him, dude. He's so cool.
Yes.
She and him have been living in this home. So, worth noting, nobody in this movie has a name.
Yes. Okay. So I watch everything with subtitles, which we've discussed before, because I can't pay attention otherwise.
Okay.
And like typically when you have subtitles on, it'll introduce the character like before you know their name.
Yeah.
So like at the beginning of Vivarium, it was like Tom says this, Gemma says this, and I didn't know their names yet.
Yeah.
But in this one, the subtitles say him and mother.
Okay.
So I was like, that's interesting.
That is them. I mean,
Yeah.
that's it.
That's it.
What did it say for some of the other people? Did it give names to anyone else?
Shit. Yeah, I gave a strange name to everybody. Like ancient words. I'll have to look up some of them because like
Okay.
I was like, why are they calling them these things?
Because we actually watched this with subtitles.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because Taylor likes subtitles, and so I got this movie in some way or fashion, and I made sure that I got the subtitle file with it because I knew she would want them, right?
Yeah.
Because Taylor likes subtitles too. This one didn't have names. It just like had like lines, and then we were hearing it, so we knew who was saying what at what time,
Okay, yeah.
But
I got mine on YouTube, so
yeah,
I had like
it did not have the names like that, so that's interesting.
Yeah.
Because I was like, wait, I did watch this in subtitles. Okay, so she's looking for the dude. They have been living in this house for an indeterminate period of time. There's no sense of time throughout this entire movie.
Yeah, and for the first like 30 minutes of it, I was like, what time period is this supposed to be? Because the house is like really like ornate, kind of like a Victorian mansion almost. Like,
well, so
wooden and carved.
She had said that he grew up in this house.
Yeah.
And that they had bought it, and she was fixing it up because it was his childhood home.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, cool. Which doesn't really play into anything later again. That's just like her reasoning for why they're there. I mean, I don't know.
It fully plays into something later.
We'll see.
Okay.
But so, I don't know, she's just rebuilding this home.
Yeah.
And he's like a writer who wrote something great once, and he's fallen off and hadn't really done anything since. So, she's just trying to keep the house going, trying to get him to write. And he has this like office where he's trying to do his writing, and there's this like rock that's up on this thing.
Yes.
And she gets these crazy migraines out of nowhere and takes this powder that shines like that rock does, which was very weird.
That was very weird.
Which I don't really have anything for that.
Okay. Because the whole movie I was like, what is this yellow powder?
Yeah, I never figured that out. But I don't even know if it's really that important.
I think it's central.
Well, I think I know what it could be.
Okay, I've got theories on it.
But we'll get there when we discuss what this movie's about in general when we get there.
Okay.
So, Basically, she's living life, trying to get him to do stuff, and this guy shows up at their house. This
Yeah,
guy just shows up. And
just
he's
a
like,
random dude knocking on the
oh,
door.
you were like my favorite writer. Well, he like says that he got lost.
Yeah,
And
he
he's
was
like
like,
trying to
"Oh,
find
I
his way
thought you were
around.
a bed and breakfast. I'm just here. Can I
Yeah.
stay the night?"
And Javier Bardem, so him, he's all about it. He loves him. He's so
Yeah,
interesting. He's so intriguing. Everything about him is so inspiring. And so he's just all about him. And she doesn't like him. She wants to be with him only.
right.
Just him. We be together, that's it. No
Yep.
one else should be here. And the guy like gets sick, and so like Javier's like taking care of him overnight, and he's just like, "You go
Yeah.
to bed, don't worry about nothing."
Yeah, so the guy is like vomiting into the toilet. He starts coughing, which reminded me of Tom in Vivarium. I was like, "What's with this cough?"
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "Oh, it's just wrong pipe. It's nothing." But then like when Mother wakes up later, she sees him like throwing up into the toilet, and him is just like, he drank too much. It's fine. And then
Yeah,
the dude's got this like gash on his back and his
yeah,
ribs,
yeah,
and him covers it up real quick, and he's like, just go to bed, give him his privacy,
yeah.
which
Then
I
the
thought
next
was
morning, everybody's fine, everybody's
yeah.
happy, and then this lady shows up,
Michelle Pfeiffer out of nowhere.
which for real, she came in, and I go, "Is that Michelle Pfeiffer?"
That's exactly my reaction. I was like, wait a minute.
Taylor was like, "Yeah, that's her."
Yeah,
I was like, "Okay,
apparently.
cool." So then she shows up, and she is just awful. Man, she's so
Ooh,
bad.
she's so
I don't like
she's
her.
so mean.
Well, she doesn't listen to shit. She doesn't do anything she's supposed to do.
No, she's just like completely like a chaotic sprite going around this home doing
Yeah,
exactly the opposite of what Mother is saying to do.
yeah.
Like, don't go in
So
this room. Suddenly she's in that room.
yeah, she's like, well, I gotta see the room then.
Gotta see the room.
Like I
What's
have
in
to
here that
go.
I can't see? She's so like self-centered and
Well, that's what bothers
absorbed.
me. They keep talking about him and Mother as if like they owe them something.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? It's like, well, I mean, we're at your like, you should be you like owe us for being here, kind of thing. And it's like you just showed
right.
up in my home for no reason, and now you're just expecting to stay.
Yeah,
Like they're just expecting to live there. You know?
apparently. Yeah, they just come in, they kind of like make themselves at home.
Yeah,
And so the thing is that like Mother is restoring the house.
yeah.
So she's got this delicious wall pudding that she's mixing up just in that big bowl,
Okay.
like smearing it on the wall to fix cracks
Yeah.
and stuff. And the whole time I was like, ooh, I just want to eat it. It looks so good.
Oh my god.
So she puts the stuff on the wall, like she puts that gray putty on, and then she just like steps back and looks at it. And she has one of those like weird, like migraine flashbacks, like pain, horror.
Yeah.
And at this point, I'm wondering like, is she connected to the house somehow? Because she kind of puts her hand on the wall and
Yeah, that's
feels.
what I was thinking.
Yeah, I was like, maybe her soul is tied to the house, or like maybe she's possessed by something in the house. So she puts her hand up on the wall and is just like, this isn't right. And then she gets this like vial of magic yellow powder and like taps it into her wall pudding and mixes it up, and she puts it on the wall. It's this bright yellow color, and she's like, that's good. That's what we needed. So
So
she's
yeah, they're doing that, and then Michelle Pfeiffer starts telling her that her husband's actually sick,
yeah,
loves him's books, like his work, and was just trying to come see him before he died.
right.
He didn't mistakenly think you were a B&B. He wants to see you before he dies.
Yeah, he's just a crazy
Kinda
fan
shit.
who's like here now
Yeah. And then the movie just kind of goes off the rails for a little bit.
for the whole rest of the movie.
Not even yet, because that's the end, but this is just
The
when like
end,
the kids show up.
yeah. So this movie is one of those things. It's just like it was almost like watching an episode of the regular show, because stuff starts out
Yeah, okay.
pretty normal, but then
Yeah.
like something happens and you're like, I guess this is
Wait, what?
happening now.
Yeah.
And then something a little weirder happens, and then a little weirder, and then you're just like, by the end of it, you're like, what is going on?
Yeah. So all of a sudden their kids show up.
Yeah.
Like like what, you just invited your family to come stay at my home too? Taylor was so mad. Like,
Yep.
who the fuck just invites their family to a house you mistakenly came to? What the fuck?
Why are they here? What do they want?
And then I'm sitting here like, but what is really happening? Because,
Yeah.
so, before I go further, I thought this movie was like a Rosemary's Baby kind of thing.
Yeah, that's the vibe that I was getting when I started watching.
That's what I always thought it was about.
Okay.
And I was very wrong.
Yeah.
I was very, very wrong. I don't
As
know
it
what
turns
led
out.
me that way. But so then the kids show up, and then dad's all sick, and then like a second son shows up. So now that there's these two sons there, and they start fighting about dad's sick, he's gonna die, who's gonna get his money.
Yeah, they're like arguing about the will and shit.
Yeah, and so the one that's like the bad one, he's all like, why you always give everything to this one, the good one? And he's like, this is bullshit, like I'm still your son too. And they start having this fight, and the dad like falls down, he's coughing, blood's all over the place, and
Yeah.
the two boys run away, and mother's just like, this is my fucking house.
Yeah.
Why is there family drama happening in my home for no reason?
Yeah.
And then the two boys run into the other room, and this one straight up murders the other one.
Yeah, he like takes a fucking chair, a chair that is in her home, like a handmade old wooden chair,
Yeah,
cracks it over this dude like it's WWE, and like he falls on the floor and his head is just like totally a mess. He's bleeding everywhere.
yeah,
There's this big nasty puddle of blood that just like coats the entire nice hard wooden surface.
yeah.
And that's when him runs in and they like scoop him up and they're like, we have to go to the hospital, we'll call you when we get there. And like
They
everyone
just
fucking leaves.
they just leave her there with the blood.
And the murderer, if you notice, because like he hasn't left, right?
Well, no, yeah, he escaped out this door.
Yeah, but they don't know that he's gone. He's
No,
just like
yeah, they don't know
kind of,
that.
they don't know that he's just kind of like not in the house anymore. Maybe.
But also, when they leave, she's like, "Don't go," and runs to the front
Yeah.
door, and the
She's
camera
like, "Don't
pans
leave me."
out. There's no roads. There's nothing. It's just this
Oh yeah.
field of grass.
Ooh, I didn't even realize that.
So where did they go?
Yeah.
There's no modes of transportation. There's no place for them to go. They are simply gone.
Yeah.
And now she's at this house. And so yeah, she like locks all the doors and then decides, well, I guess I'll clean up the blood.
May as well while I'm here with nothing to do.
So we get this intense fight sequence. Just people yelling and screaming, and then it's just quiet and her doing her business.
Just mopping the blood gently.
And then that other son comes back, kind of just says like, I hope you know what they are really doing.
Yeah, he's like, they left you here too, just like they left me.
Yeah. And then he actually leaves this time, and then he's gone.
Yeah.
So the other son dies.
Yeah.
At the hospital. And so they're going to hold like a wake in their home.
Yeah, so him
the
comes
guy
back.
just starts volunteering them for all the shit.
Yes. Him comes back from the hospital and mother's like, where have you been? What happened? And Javier Bardem is just like, well, he died in my arms. It was really tragic. And then like suddenly the family is just like coming into this house. And
but it's like everybody that could have ever just seen on the streets. So many people show. It's not even family.
Yeah, well, it starts out like a few people, like maybe his cousins or something, and then suddenly just like other people start coming in. And the subtitles, they were calling them like, one of them was cupbearer, one of them was mourner number 2. It was just like a variety
because they're simply just people.
Yeah, just people.
But they're become so many. There's nowhere for them to sit. There's nowhere for them to be.
Yeah.
And this running theme has been these people keep leaning up on this one sink she's trying to rebuild, and she hasn't braced it yet. She's like, I haven't braced it. Stop touching it.
Quit sitting on it. Don't lean up against it.
And these two people keep sitting on it to talk. And she goes, hey, it's not braced yet. Please get off the sink. And they're like, I mean, it seems fine. It's the most like rude answer you could get from somebody.
It is.
Just like, well, it seems fine. And she's like, but it's not.
Fine.
So go. First of all, it's not your place.
Yeah, it's not your sink to be sitting on.
Yeah. So if I tell you get off my fucking sink, get off my fucking sink.
Get off the fucking sink.
But so they keep doing it, and then they start like bouncing on it,
They're
like,
like
look,
jumping
it's
on it like
fine.
it's fine, see?
And then it breaks through the wall, water
Fully it
everywhere.
breaks. Like
Yeah.
the pipes in the ceiling come down, everything is just covered in water. And there's like earlier on in the scene too. So like there's a couple that are like looking for the bathroom or something, and she sees them
Yeah.
go upstairs into the bedroom, and she
Ugh.
walks up there like, "You can't be in here." And they're
Oh,
in there
well,
like
hang
trying to
on.
get their fuck on.
So before all that, way before all that, before the Suns come in,
Uh-huh.
Michelle Pfeiffer and Homeboy,
Yeah.
the
Oh my
dude,
god.
they go into that office that they're not supposed
Yeah.
to be in and break his little
Yes.
prized rock thing
Yes,
with the
that
like
old
magic
gold rock that
electricity
was
stuff in
sitting
it.
in there. I
Yeah.
was getting like big what the fuck was that Sandler movie?
Sailor movie?
Sandler movie with the rock.
Oh. Um
I can't think of the name of it. He has that rock and he's gonna sell it.
Oh, Uncut Gems.
Uncut Gems. Yes,
Yeah.
that's the vibes I was getting off of this rock. I was like, there's
Okay.
some kind of like magic power coming off of this thing.
Something because the like shining that it did inside is
Yeah.
what's in her powder that she drinks.
Yeah.
It's like the same in some way.
Right.
So, anyway, they broke
Yeah.
that, and he walled up his office that he wrote in. Like, he simply
Yes.
just walls it up. So,
Yeah.
yeah, they're like going up the stairs, trying to get their fuck on. And I
Yes.
hate that because she goes, "This is my bedroom," and they go,
Yeah.
"Okay, we'll
They're
just
like,
go
"We don't
somewhere
care."
else."
Yeah, and like they literally go, "Let's find another spot," and they like leave and go for another
Yeah,
to another area. And when she comes back downstairs, there's people painting her home, like the home that she's trying to restore.
yeah,
They just have like buckets of paint and they're just like slapping it on the walls. And he's like, "It's not a big deal. I do this for a living. I'll paint your walls. It's my favor to you." And she's like, "Fucking stop. I don't
I
want you
know.
to."
And so that's when they break the sink, and then she
Yes.
makes everybody get the fuck out.
Yes.
Everybody's
She
got to
gets
go.
mad. She's like, "Everyone has to leave right now." And kind of has like a screaming meltdown moment.
Yeah. And so then he's like, so him is like, what is wrong with you? Like these people, like, are good people, and they love me.
Right.
Like, these people are good to me, and I just think they're interesting, and I want to be around them. And she's like, no, you be around me,
Yeah, be around me.
and you're
Your
letting
wife.
them disrespect all of our shit. She's like, why the fuck are you gonna let all this shit happen when you won't even fuck me?
Yes.
And then he's like, fine. And
Yeah,
so they go have sex.
like really that scene got to me. I was like, ugh. Kind of angry and violent.
Yeah. And then she wakes up the next morning and goes, I'm pregnant, dude.
Yeah, she just like feels it. She's like,
And he's
"Oh,
like, how
I'm
do you
pregnant."
know? And she goes, I fucking know.
Yeah, I know. It's in
And
me. I
then
feel it.
we basically cut 9 months later,
Yeah,
which
she's
could be 9 months later.
pregnant.
Like, we don't really know what passage of time happened,
Yeah.
but she becomes full term. Any minute she could have this baby.
Yeah.
And then, so she says that she's pregnant, and he just goes like, I've got it. And
Yeah,
his
I have
writer's block
light.
is gone. And he just starts writing butt naked right there, which I thought was hilarious. He
Fully
just like
dick out.
just
He's,
running
"I need a
out,
pen."
flopping all over, and he's just like, I'm a writing. And so he writes the entirety of the term of the pregnancy.
Yeah.
Because he finishes it the day she gives birth.
Yeah, because she's like pregnant, and he brings the manuscript to her, and he's like, "I finished it." Actually, he's like standing at the front door, like just kind of staring out at the field, and she walks up behind him, like, "Are you good?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "Here it is. This is it, the manuscript." And he turns around and gives it to her, and she looks over it, and just like there's such like joy,
She
and
weeps because it's so
she
good.
weeps. Yeah,
She's like, this
and
is great. And this is the
and
part
that
that kind of got me.
okay,
Because she's all about him. She just wants him, right?
yeah,
He just gave it to her. And she read it. And while she's reading it, he gets a call from his manager
yes,
who says, yeah, that's one of the best things I read. So he'd already sent it off. Other people have seen it. She kind of got to it last.
yeah. And she's like, "How have they already seen it?"
Yeah.
And then like the second after that, after the publisher calls, uh, they call again, and they're like, "You want to do some press?" And he's like, "Press? I don't know how I feel about press." And then suddenly there's people at the door.
Yeah, and she's trying to make like a nice little dinner to celebrate the fact that this book thing will go so well.
Yeah,
So she
and
makes
she's
just
like
like a
all
nice little
dolled
dinner.
up.
Yeah.
She's like dressed really fancy. She has her full makeup and hair done, and she's got this beautiful dinner happening. She just took this like fresh, beautiful cake out of the oven,
Yeah.
and oh my god, that cake fucked me up later. There's like one particular part that got to me that I maybe it's not going to bother anybody else, but for me it was like
Okay.
jarring.
Okay.
So like all the people start to come now, right?
Yeah. And this is where we start just
This is
they
where the movie just hits blitz.
they just like put the train in full gear, broke off the brake lever and said, "See you when you crash."
Yes.
I mean, enjoy the ride cuz
Yeah.
it took off from there.
Yeah, I couldn't handle the rate of escalation that this movie had. Like it it was really like a fever dream. Honestly, the whole time I was just like, what is happening? What what is why is this still happening? Why is
So,
more stuff happening?
I think it was at this moment that I started putting together what it was about.
Okay, yeah, same here.
Like it was right here that I was like, all right, I got it. Like
Yeah,
before, I was just like, I don't understand why these things are happening, why he's so into these people. But
yeah.
when the people show up and like the shit starts to escalate,
Uh-huh.
I 100% was like, I think it's this. And then it just proved it to me time and time again.
Okay.
So I know
Yeah, so
exactly what he was going for.
break it down for me. Like start describing this wild scene that unfolds in front of us.
Well, so she's trying to make the dinner, and these people show up, and his like publisher lady shows up, who, by the way, Kristen Wiig.
Yeah, out of nowhere. This movie like has a knack for just being like, remember this person?
Yeah,
Here
there's
they
people
are in a
here,
weird ass role.
and let's have them do shit that they would not do because Kristen
I
Wiig does
know.
something in a bit that I was just like,
God.
well, okay, you took
Yeah.
this role. You said I was gonna do this. So, um, these people show up. She's like, yeah, come meet the fans real quick. You know, some of these people like it. They just want to meet you real quick. And so he's out
Yeah.
there with his like adoring public.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, here's my goddess, my muse.
Yeah, and she's like, that's fine, but make them go away and be with me.
Yeah, it's dinner time. I have made you this beautiful meal,
That literally just came out of the oven.
and I don't want these people here. And he's like, just keep everything warm.
Yeah. And so he's out there just continually talking to them, and there's just more and more people. Like, more and more people just seem to come out of, like, the woods.
Yeah. So
Just, like, into this field that they live in.
there's this woman that's like suddenly in the house, and she's like, oh, my kid has to go to the bathroom. And she's like, well, you're not supposed to be in here. And the kid just openly starts peeing on the floor.
Yeah.
And so she's like, okay, I guess so, come on in. And she shows her the bathroom, and then suddenly there's like a dude already in the bathroom and a line of people waiting to get in the bathroom out the other door.
Yeah, things just start happening.
Yeah, so she goes back to the kitchen at this point, and this is where the fucking cake problem happens.
Okay, so tell me the cake problem.
This wonderful cake that she's pulled out of the oven, I'm so mad on her behalf. Like, she worked really hard on it, and
Yeah.
this dude just like grabs the pan and like takes it over to an armoire or something, and grabs a big spoon and just starts like cutting into the cake with this big ugly spoon, and it's like, yeah, this is good, this is for me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
I know.
Oh my
So
god.
people just start breaking in the house.
Just
Pe-
start breaking
People
in.
are
Like,
just here, and they start just taking things, just
yeah,
ripping wallpaper off the wall, breaking lamps, and taking pieces of it. Everybody's starting to claim like, I need a piece for me. And they're like,
yes.
it's his, it's his. They keep like yelling, it's his, and they
Yeah.
need some of his stuff, right?
Yes.
And he's just in the middle, just like, oh, my people. Like, he's so happy about it.
He's thrilled. He's like, I have so many fans and they all love me so
Yeah.
much, and they just want to share in this house that we have.
And then he disappears.
Fucks right off.
Everybody disappears. Because next thing you know, she's going from room to room, and it is changing like fucking time periods.
Yeah.
Like, all, okay, so it's people just like stealing stuff off the walls, and the next thing you know, She walks in a room and Kristen Wiig has people like barred up, like barbed wired behind a fence, people
Yeah.
laid down on the ground, and she's just walking and just shooting people in the head while she's walking.
Just literally like people that are bagged up like terrorist
Yeah,
hostages, and she's got a fucking gun, and she's just like capping these people as she goes by.
just like a slow walk, just and then she turns
Yeah.
around, sees Mother, and goes, "There you are. We've been looking for you.
Yes.
Like we need you to be part of this."
Right. Like, where have you been?
And then so she tries to run away from that, and then it's like more of these people are walled up in these cells like all around the house. And then next thing you know, World War II is happening. There's legit
Just
people in army
house.
uniforms.
Yes, and there's like pepper spray happening, and she's
Yeah,
so pregnant, and she
yeah,
gets like knocked down and like stepped on and pepper sprayed, and it was so uncomfortable for her and her baby.
yeah. And then the army dude's like, "I'll get you out of here, ma'am." Gets shot in the fucking face.
It was
He's
so
dead.
brutal. Like,
Like,
everything took off. Like, it was no
yeah,
longer at the house. It was unrecognizable.
yeah. I mean, she's like legit at D-Day.
Yeah.
Like there's like a whole like thing happening like outside this wall that is exploded with things happening, and then like they're coming into the house from there. There's
Yeah.
people just fighting each other, and then there's this one guy who was one of his fans that now has a bunch of people on their knees, and he's talking about how great his work is and all this stuff.
Yeah. There
And
was one
everybody's
part
got the
earlier
marks on their
on.
head.
Yeah, the marks on their head. So
Yeah.
like the dude earlier he had something on his thumb, or like mud or soot or something from the house just being in a fucking
Mm-hmm.
shambles, and he grabs this woman's face and he like kisses her and like leaves a thumbprint on her head,
Yeah.
and everyone's like, he has marked you. And then like the people go
Yeah.
to this shrine that is the room where he actually boarded up his writing desk.
Yeah.
They've all like taped pictures of him to it, and they're all coming up and like pinning photos to it, like a big loving Mother Mary shrine.
Mm-hmm.
And then this like appointed priest dude just like grabs their faces and smudges them in the same way that he smudged that woman
Yeah.
on accident, and it's just like, he has marked you, this is his mark.
And so everybody's just freaking out, and then him shows up, and he's like, "Where have you been, my darling? I love
Yeah, where have
you."
you been?
Smooches. And then she's like, "I'm having this fucking baby right now."
Yeah, she goes into fucking labor.
Yeah, in the middle of World War II, people getting capped on the floor.
Ugh.
Like, so much has happened, and it's just chaos. People are fighting, people are screaming, crying, dying, getting trampled, and then there's
Yeah.
just people in line for whatever they got going on. And so he, like, "I'll protect you, my love." And he, like, axes his way into his old office. He gets her in there, and she has the baby.
Yeah, which is, oh my god, it's visceral. Like that scene where she's got her legs spread and
Yeah,
her tunic or whatever is spilling down the front of her, and there's just like blood coming
yeah.
from her thighs. She's just shrieking in labor pains. It's like, ooh, that was tough to watch.
So then the baby's born,
A little boy.
and everything stops out there.
Literally everything goes completely silent.
None of what was going on is there. And so she's just like, "What's going on?"
Where did they go?
And he's just like, "Oh, they're still here. They're waiting to see him."
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, "Well, they're not gonna.
Yep.
Make them go away." And he's like, "But they came all this way. Like, they're here for him. He needs to be seen." And this is around about the time Taylor like got up and was just like, "Don't you give him that baby." So then they basically sit for a 3-day stare off.
Yeah.
Like
So
they sit there for like 3 days.
the fans have brought gifts for them. So he goes out and he
Yeah.
grabs like this big bowl of fruit and vegetables and stuff and brings it back in. He's like, "Look, they've got us gifts." And they like just kind of persist on those fruits and vegetables, I guess, for a few days. It's unclear how much time passes because this movie is not
Has
on
no
linear
time.
tracks
Yeah.
anymore.
I take it as 3 days because I think there's kind of like a semblance of like her almost going to sleep but then being awake. Like it happens in like the set of 3.
Yeah.
Like she kind of goes through like a daily cycle, and he literally just stares at her.
Yeah.
He just sits in this chair and watches her.
And the fans have brought her like a fresh pair of clothes, so she's like trying to put it on but not put the baby down because
Yeah.
she doesn't want him
I love
to
that
have the
part
baby.
because like
Me
she's
too.
she's trying and he instantly jumps at that chair. I'll take him.
Yeah, I'll hold him.
Yeah.
Let me hold him. And the way that they have this exchange, because she's like gripping this baby, and he's like, I want to hold the baby. I'm his father. And she
Yeah.
goes, I'm his mother.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, okay.
So she finally falls asleep. She kind of like nods off, looks up,
Yeah.
and the baby's gone. He's gone.
She's asleep for like a fraction of a second, and the baby is just
Yeah.
snatched.
And so she gets up, runs out there, and he's just out there with the baby. Oh, look at the baby! It's the baby! Shaking this little baby
I hate
around.
this part so much, Robert.
Oh, Taylor's
God.
not cool with it, man.
It reminded me so much of Perfume,
Okay.
but like, just
Yeah, I know.
go
Okay.
go ahead and describe what happens in this scene.
So he like hands the baby to the crowd, and this little baby's just crowd surfing amongst the people, and everybody's just passing him, and they're doing all this stuff, and everyone's kind of grabbing him, and then they just break his fucking neck. From,
Yeah,
like
they
the
snap
sheer
that little baby's
movement
neck right off.
of just like crowd surfing him around. So
And
she
Jennifer Lawrence's
immediately
mother is
freaks
just like
out.
running after the baby this whole time. Like, don't
Yeah,
break my baby.
and they break her baby.
They break her baby.
And so then she like gets up to the front of the crowd. She's like trying to work to where the baby went, and he is cut open, and everybody's just eating little pieces
Just little pieces.
of this
Everyone
baby.
has like a handful of baby meat that they're just like,
Yeah, and they're like, "Thank you." And it's kind of my favorite part of the movie. She goes ape shit,
she does.
and like some glass had broke, and she picks up this piece of glass and just starts murdering people.
Just indiscriminate stabbing into the crowd, just like slashing and fucking
Yeah,
killing.
she's like murdering everybody, and she's like, I'm done with all this.
Yeah.
So she runs down to their basement, or their cellar, I guess, and there's like this giant boiler that's down there.
So wait, before this, after she like goes nuts on the crowd's like, she's so ungrateful and unappreciative of
Mm.
everything that we have done for her.
This was
Why?
one of the moments that I was like, whoa.
This hurt me to watch so bad. So like they knock her down to the ground and they like rip her shirt open, and they're just like beating the shit out of her face and like
Kicking and
slapping her and
trampling
grabbing at
and
her.
yeah.
I think somebody bites her. Like it's so brutal, and she gets
And
really
they just start calling her like whore, trout, just like all
just
the most horrible words you could think of to call a woman.
yeah, every bad word in the book they throw at her, and she's
Yeah.
just like naked and broken on the ground. And then fucking Javier Bardem just comes out of the woodwork, and he's like, "Oh no,
He's like,
my
my
goddess, what happened? Are
baby.
you okay?
Oh, my sweet thing.
Why did they do this to you? How could they?
And she's like,
And
because they killed our fucking baby. And he
they
goes,
killed our baby."
well, it's also their baby.
Yes. And then she's like, "You're a murderer, and I am done."
Yeah. And so that's when she just like goes down to the cellar, and he's like, you don't want to do this. And she's like, too fucking late.
Yeah.
And pours all this gasoline out down there, lets the boiler go, and the house just fucking goes up in smoke.
Engulfed. Just complete flames everywhere.
Totally ruined.
And it swallows up her as well.
Yeah. And so then everyone's gone. Everyone's dead, I guess.
Probably.
Everything's burned up, and she is still alive. Walking all burnt and just totally weak. And then he comes up out of nowhere, totally fine.
As he does.
He's all like, why does this happen? Like, why can't this be okay? And he's like, but I need one more thing from you. I just need to know that you still love me.
Yep.
And she's like, I do. And he's like, then I need that love.
Yep.
And he reaches inside, thus the poster.
Just into her chest. Like, busts into her
he just like
smoldering chest, opens it up, and like
pulls out her heart.
Like just a charred, blackened heart, and he like crushes it in his fist like
Yeah.
we'd seen him do earlier in the movie, because when that rock broke, he picked it up and just like
Yeah.
clenched the glass in his fist so much it made him bleed everywhere.
Yeah.
So this shot really mirrored that, and I liked that a lot.
Yeah.
He just got like this bloody heart in his hands, and
And
then
then
when he opens it back up,
yeah.
he's
It's
got
the
this.
rock.
It's the rock. It's this shiny, glassy stone with the gold veins inside.
Yeah. And he kind of just goes back up to his office, puts the rock back down, and the movie starts just like it began.
Yep.
The house starts healing itself. Everything's back to normal. This lady appears in the bed, and then she
She
turns
rolls over.
around and says,
She goes,
"Babe."
"Baby."
But it's not Jennifer Lawrence now.
And then it's just the fucking end of the movie, and I sit there just like I didn't move for like a solid 10 minutes after this movie. I just sat there with my blanket like, why did I watch that? What did I just put myself through?
So when this movie came out, everybody hated it.
That's what I hear. It had a really low score online, and I was like, fucking
Because,
why?
like I said, I thought it was a Rosemary's Baby movie.
Okay.
This movie was portrayed. A lot of people thought this movie was a comedy when it came out.
What?
Like, the trailers do not sell this movie for what it is.
Yeah, I went in blind. I didn't watch any trailers at all.
Well, I remember when it came out because I really wanted to see it. And
Oh,
then
really?
everybody said it was bad, so it's like, well, I guess I won't spend money on seeing it, but I'll watch it one day. So
Yeah.
I kind of took this as an excuse to just get to watch it again. Or, well,
Yeah.
to watch it for the first time. And man, I loved it.
I loved it too.
I freaking love this movie, but I love
Yeah.
his other movie that I've seen, so it's not as weird as this one. This one's a bit more like, okay.
So did he do Black Swan, Darren Aronofsky?
Oh, okay, so I've seen two. Yes, he did Black
Okay.
Swan.
Yeah. This one had Black Swan vibes just for the amount of like gruesomeness that it portrayed. So overall, the themes of this movie, clearly it's the objection of women and their love and motherhood in general.
See, again,
So-
you're so different than me.
So here's what I took. That gold powder, after having talked it out with you here, I realize now that gold powder is her love.
That's what I was thinking when
So-
I said, like, I think I might know. Okay.
Yeah, in those moments where it's like tough to love him when stuff is going on, like when people come fucking running into the house from wherever, and she starts to get like, freaked out. She goes and she like has a little gulp of that yellow powder in the bathroom, and then she's like,
Yeah.
I'm okay actually, because I still love him. And
Yeah.
that's when she's painting the walls. She puts that little gold dust on the walls of the house, and she's like, putting my love, repairing the cracks of this house with our love.
Yeah.
And so to break it down, the house is love, but it's also, because it was his childhood home, I think it represents the love that his mother couldn't give to him, because his home was burned down as a child. That's the
Okay.
whole thing of it. So his house burned down, and these women come into his life and they rebuild the house for him with their love, like that gold
Mhm.
powder that she's like smearing on the walls. So he lives on that. He thrives on that. That's how he's able to create his art.
Yeah.
He's being a moody writer, and it just relies on the woman
Yeah.
keeping this house together. And throughout it all, like, people come into it and they're literally just breaking apart this house. They're taking pieces of it for themselves. So like, this means something to me, so I have
Yeah.
it now. You can't have it anymore. He made this for me specifically. It's not for you.
Mhm.
And that's a running theme in it, is that like, why am I not enough for you? She says that to him so many times.
Yeah. So, okay. Yeah. Are you ready for mine?
Yes.
This is 100% just religion.
What?
This is God and earth.
Whoa.
He is him. He is the Almighty God. He's him. And
Okay.
she is Mother Earth.
So you took this totally different than I did. I'm excited. Hold on. Tell me your
Okay.
theory.
You ready?
Yeah.
It's just him and her because he's the one that created everything, right?
Yeah.
But now he can't create anything anymore.
Okay.
So the guy that comes to his house is Adam. That is Adam for the first time. And remember his gash by his
Yeah.
ribs?
Oh my god, what?
He had taken his rib, and the next day, who shows up? Woman,
Holy shit. I did not whoa. You're
right?
honestly blowing my mind right now.
All right, right? So she shows up and does nothing that she is supposed to do. She
Oh
literally
my
breaks all of
god.
his rules, right?
Yeah.
She breaks his rules, and then the sons show up, and me and Taylor just started like bouncing it back and forth. That's Cain and
Yeah.
Abel.
Oh my god, that's Katie.
Yeah. And so,
And literally this poster that you have up right now is like her as the Virgin Mary.
yeah,
Robert.
I know, like you took this so different from me. And that's why, well, because I watched a thing with him too. He was like, we spell mother this way for a specific reason.
Okay.
He was like, we do her in lowercase because if you watch the credits, we'll tell you why. And the only reason he says that is the only person that's capitalized is him. Every other name in the entire credits is lowercase, except for the
Whoa.
word him for Javier Bardem.
Wow.
Because he's the God. Because God is always capital, you know?
I'm like
Right?
I'm reeling.
I'm glad I can share this with you. Okay.
Oh my
Okay.
god, Robert.
Okay. So, I really thought you'd pieced it together because you were saying
No.
shit just like what I was thinking.
Yeah, the whole time. That's why I was like, the Vivarium fits so well with this movie because they're both about like fucked up motherhood and women becoming homes for broken men.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of this movie. Okay. I mean, it's for the patrons. They probably know things about us already, but I'm not a very religious person.
Yeah, same.
Okay.
Maybe
This
that's why I was just like not.
this movie makes me not like religion more because
Yeah.
because really it's all about how him literally uses and doesn't care about any of the creations that he's made.
Yeah.
So anyway, so Cain and Abel, right?
Uh-huh. Oh my god. Literally.
When all the people show up, uh that's like the earth being so full of people and stuff. And
Uh-huh.
when they break the sink, it floods because that's Noah's Ark time.
The flood.
Yeah.
Robert.
That's like the Great Flood. And that's when they all leave. And then we start over, right? He literally just tells the story of God through this movie. Because she has a baby. She has a baby, Kelsey, who is Jesus that dies, and he goes, well, it's also their baby.
And they ate him. Hold on, they ate him. They ate of his body.
Because this is the body of Christ, the blood of Christ, and we eat him. Right?
Oh my god.
And then all these people, when they're killing in her home, they're all killing in his name. It's like crusades and wars and all the shit that we do for him. But it's not good ever, you know? Right?
I'm
Right?
speechless.
And so he ruins his only create. So I take their house almost just as Earth.
Okay.
That's like his space to create, right?
Wow. Okay.
And I'm thinking. So I'm still gonna take your love. I really thought she was like several people from the Bible.
Okay.
So like, well, okay, she is Mother Earth. She's the one like giving him this place to be, right?
Yeah.
She is the Earth that all these people come to, right?
Yeah.
But like, she's also the Virgin Mother because she has this baby.
Yeah.
And then I almost thought she was Lucifer there at the end because I thought going to the cellar and starting the fire was like that kind of thing.
Yeah. He does call her like my angel, my goddess, a bunch of
Or something,
really like
yeah.
religious names. Yeah.
Yeah. And so then he just restarts again. So it's almost like he doesn't care about us. And when is like our Earth gonna end now? That then he just tries again.
I took none of this away. None of it.
Oh my god, really? I'm
Yeah.
surprised. I really thought that you would have jumped on it and been like, yeah, that's why that shit sucks.
I think maybe Vivarium had like clouded my vision because
You were very just like female for both of them.
I just went into it like with the concept after having watched Vivarium and taking
Yeah.
away the fact that like motherhood is woman's work and like dad
Yeah.
just to fuck off and dig a hole in the yard or something, you know?
Yeah.
Like that I that
Well,
that vision is what I took into this movie, and it being called
yeah.
Mother and just him the like I've had experiences in prior relationships where like men will just need love from you and
Yeah.
validation in order to create whatever they're trying to create, and
Yeah.
that's all they take from you, and they just take and they don't ever give back.
Yeah.
And that's a bad relationship to be in. You never ever want to be with somebody who treats you that way.
Yeah.
And just the way that she would like put her love on the walls for him and like just heal him with
Yeah.
that love and her constant acceptance of him taking everything from her and like
Yeah.
giving nothing back. That was my main takeaway. But
Yeah.
with this like veil of religion you placed over it, that is completely, I fully see that now.
Yeah.
Like I can't believe I missed it, honestly.
Like,
With the flight allegory, like that really
yeah.
that brings it right home.
Yeah. I mean, it was pretty much when. Well, because you said like they were marking the people, so I
Yeah,
thought like
like
you 100% were saying like, oh yeah, because there's like, and then you said like this like priest or whatever, man. I was like, yeah, yeah, you
yeah,
got it, you got it.
that part to me was very religious because they had the
Yeah.
whole shrine thing and
Yeah.
like putting the photos and stuff and like the body
Yeah.
of Christ or whatever marking you on Ash Wednesday or whatever the fuck
And
with.
so like that's their whole thing. They keep coming into like these places and going like, well, I need a piece of like him of like
Yeah,
religion for me because everybody wants their piece, you know?
yeah, and everyone's taking it for themselves and like just trying to spin it to what they want it to be.
Yeah. So yeah, this is just like the story of, I'm not gonna say the story of the Bible, but it's like just religion as a whole represented and kind of critiqued to me.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I really, well, I also took it because the other movie of his that I like, The Fountain, is a
Uh-huh.
very religious movie.
Okay.
Because it's about, that one's more about grief, but
Oh,
it's
interesting.
but it's about a guy in three different time periods trying to handle grief in different ways. And like this one guy is looking for like the tree of life or something because he wants to live forever so that he does. I don't really remember what his point is for that one. But then there's
Okay.
like him in present day and his wife died and he can't get out of this grief. And then there's the guy at the end who's in the future that has learned to like accept it or something.
Okay.
Oh, so the guy in the beginning, he's like trying to find the tree of life so nobody will die. Therefore, there's no need to have grief because everybody will just live. Then there's
It's
the
like the
guy
Fountain
who's,
of Youth.
yeah, going through grief, and then the guy who's accepted it and comes to like his end with it or something.
Okay.
But it's got like all this stuff in there about like the Fountain of Youth and all that kind of jazz.
I need to watch this movie again.
Watch it with that aspect.
Yeah, because like I can't believe I missed it with
Like
everything that you pulled out like that.
here's
Like the
what
rib.
did it for me though. Here, because all of then I still didn't know. Even like the sink breaking, didn't know.
Yeah.
It's when they went to the hospital and there was no roads, no car, like there was nothing there. I was like, all right, so they aren't in an actual space.
Yeah.
They're not in like a human world
Right.
per se. And then when every like war people started showing up and it was just like all this stuff, I was like, it's just our world as it is now, just emerging and happening.
Yeah.
And we're tearing this home, this house down, which is what we do to Earth. You know? And
Yeah.
and then this guy's just like, oh, but just keep doing it for me. Keep doing it in my name and you'll be fine. And then there's the guy who like is the preacher guy and he's legit just like telling people they're absolved after they literally just trampled people to death, you know?
Yes.
And they're doing like the Ash Wednesday thing, like they're doing
Yeah.
all that crap.
I
And
can't
the part that
believe.
like sold it was when she had the baby and it's like, oh, they brought us gifts. And then when they ate him, I was like I looked at Taylor and was like, think about it. Like we literally tell kids today, this is the flesh and blood of a man.
Yeah.
And this is just like literally showing you what you're saying to them. That's like what
So
you're saying you're doing, you know?
how did Taylor take this movie? Did she immediately see the religion in it?
No, she thought this was actual. She was like, "How is this happening?"
Oh
And
my
she
god,
was
did she
so
just take it at face
frustrated.
value?
Yeah, and then I was like, "This is religion."
Oh man, so the way Taylor viewed this movie was the way that you viewed Vivarium.
Yeah. Yeah, like she was just taking it as
Oh
it
my
was.
god.
And
I'm
then
so glad that we watched these
yeah.
movies.
And then I said, "Well, this is Darren Aronofsky.
Yeah,
His
you
movies are
gotta,
not
there's like
actually
cerebral
happening."
layers.
Yeah, he is only showing you what he wants you to think about it. And then she goes, "Let me think about it." And she just like goes and had like this long ponderous moment. And then she's the one that goes, "Those kids were Cain and Abel." And I go, "Oh yeah, you're right." And she's like, "That sink is Noah's Ark." Like she pieced it all together
Oh
from
my
from like
god.
the parts I didn't pick up before.
Truly fascinating.
Yeah, like we took both of these movies so different.
We did.
And I love what you made me look at Vivarium for. I'm glad I caught you with this one.
Yeah, I'm thrilled that we got to talk about these because we both viewed them each so differently, and I didn't expect that. I thought we were going to come at this with like level
This
perspectives.
I know. But like when you started talking Vivarium, I was like, whoa, what? Because you went, so I started to look for the metaphors, and I was like, you were looking at metaphors? This one, I was only looking for the metaphor, but I knew that because of the
God.
director.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I would have been like, that's a weird fucking movie. So I also think this movie did bad because it makes religion look bad. It
Yeah, that's
makes
true.
it makes God look like a callous person who's only into the respect and love he receives. He doesn't care about what you have as
Yeah.
long as you give him your love. Because he doesn't do anything for anybody in the whole movie.
Right. Like he just cares about himself and his work.
Yeah,
And he never writes anything except for like the one thing that he writes, which I
which
guess is
I feel
probably,
like is the Bible.
yeah.
I feel like that's what that's supposed to be.
Yeah. And that
Because
makes
that's
sense
when
for the
everybody
way.
shows up and that's when the
Yeah.
world loses their shit.
Yeah. Oh my god. I really just my mind is in pieces.
Yeah, you're gonna have to. When this movie was over, Taylor goes, "I hate it," and I was like, "I loved it."
So did Taylor come around on it eventually after like thinking
So
on it?
so the next day, like she like spent all day at work. She literally walked in the door and just goes, "I've thought about that movie all day. I like it. It's good." I was like, oh, "Okay, cool." So she's like,
Okay.
"What else has he made?" So we're
Oh
gonna go on
man.
like a Darren kick at some point.
That sounds like a bad time.
Probably
Watching
so.
all of his shit at once. Man,
I mean, I've noticed that he's become a bit of like a religious movie maker. He's
really
always commenting on religion in some way nowadays, it
interesting.
seems. So, but yeah,
My god.
I'm really glad I watched it though, because I've always wanted to
Yeah.
know. But see,
So
I knew about the baby thing.
I'm glad you knew about that going
So
in.
I thought it was. I thought he was impregnating her and like giving the baby to a cult kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
Like a Rosemary's Baby. Like I'm having this baby for this evil purpose. That's
Yeah.
what I thought it was. Technically, he still had this baby and gave it to a cult, but you know,
The cult of him.
yeah. So it was nothing like I went in thinking it was gonna be because I was like, where's this twist with like the evil baby thing? And
Evil
then it didn't
baby.
happen. So I was like, is it just about God?
Man.
But yeah, so watched all kinds of interviews about it
Okay.
because
I haven't watched any. I didn't want to like cloud my judgment, and I'm
yeah,
glad that I came into this with like naked mind, not
yeah,
knowing anything about the religion aspect, because that literally just like
yeah.
blasts my hair right off. Like
Oh,
I
so the mother thing, right? I said that they
yeah.
do the lowercase m because she's beneath him, right?
Mm.
And then they were like, but why the exclamation point?
Yeah.
He goes, oh, that's just for the ending. They're like,
Just
what? And he goes, go watch the movie and you'll know why there's an exclamation point. And it made me love that man so much more. That does
yeah,
like
this
he thinks about the movie as a whole to put stuff like that just in like how the title's written, you know?
I cannot imagine having seen this in a theater. I would have come out of it
Oh
been
my
like,
god.
I
I think I would have come out the same way because I thought I knew what it was about then. Like I
yeah,
thought I knew what this movie was all these years, and I was wrong.
I just I'm glad that I was able to watch it in the comfort of my home because literally
Yeah.
I couldn't move after watching it. I just stared at the screen like, what did I just experience?
Talking about it makes me want to watch it again. A
Same.
bit.
Yeah.
Because
My God.
this movie makes you feel like
Yeah.
not feel in like a good way.
No.
It just like it makes you feel. Simply put, like you feel, whether it be
Right.
uneasy or whatever.
Sick.
Do you know how little Taylor has ever sat up in a movie and been so entranced? Like it made me go like, oh yeah, this movie's working.
Yeah.
This movie's doing
It
it.
it did it. So what's your rating on this one?
I feel like I would want to give a 10 to a movie that I just enjoy on a personal level and just want to like experience all the time.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with a 9
Okay.
because like I think it's a great movie.
Yeah.
I think it's great for what it is. It's not a great movie to just be like, "Hey, you want to see a movie?"
You want to pop in
It's
a movie and have a fun night together?
yeah, it's not for that.
No.
Not for that at all. This is again, I would equate it almost to like an art piece because it's all about what's in it, not what's on it, on like the
Yeah.
surface, you know?
I I want to give it a 10, but I don't like this movie. Like I love this movie. I fully enjoyed it
Yeah.
and perhaps I would watch it again, but it was so hard to watch. It was so
Well, you
difficult to
know I
like
like that. You
yeah.
know I like that shit because it stirs something in you as a person.
Yes.
A
Yeah.
movie
That's
should leave you feeling the way this movie left you feeling,
it was evocative.
whether it be good or bad.
Yeah.
That's like watching
Um
Star Wars. When you watch Star Wars, you feel something, and it's usually good. You feel like hopeful and happy. You are left
yeah.
with something. This movie leaves you, so therefore it did its job.
Yeah, I guess. I'm gonna I'm I want to give it a 10 so bad. I think I'm gonna give it a 10.
Really, I kind of thought you'd go an 8, like
No,
just like a
no, I
good
liked
nice
this
8.
one way more than Vivarium. Like Vivarium was it was a fun romp compared to this one.
Good because I like this one more than Vivarium. We
Yeah.
thought Vivarium was kind of fun because
Yeah.
what is happening? But you didn't take it as more of a mystery, so I don't know if you
Yeah.
had as much fun in it as we did.
I,
'Cause
I
we were
mean,
just trying to figure it out.
comparatively, it was a fun movie. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This is not a fun movie.
This is not a fun movie. No. Um.
Well, all right. So objectively,
Uh-huh.
it's a 10.
Yeah.
I mean, for what it's doing, it's a 10. You don't have to like it
Yeah.
because most people won't, especially if you have any sort of religious bone in your body. You
Yeah.
would not like this movie.
Probably not.
You would not find this movie attractive in any way. To me, it because I actually said this to Taylor. It's like the mirror of Passion of the Christ.
Okay.
Passion of the Christ is all like people love that movie, even though it's
It's a
gruesome. But it's like
yeah.
it's about the good that happened there. Like
It's kind of like a
this is
literal
like
retelling of it too.
yeah,
There's
this
no
is
facade. It's just like here's Jesus, here's the good things
yeah,
he did, and then he died.
and it's like here's like when he died for us, and people love that because it's big for religion. Where
Right.
this is like, look at how gross that seems. Like when you look at it from this aspect,
Yeah.
it's the opposite effect of that. So I feel like if you are religious, you're not gonna like this.
Yeah.
Because I feel like this movie has a negative take on religion.
For sure.
I
Oh
think
yeah.
it's definitely saying that's ugly and bad.
Anybody who comes away with this thinking like that took religion in a good light, you didn't watch the movie.
Yeah. Um. Also, though, speaking to like mother stuff and the female stuff that you kept picking up on,
Yeah.
the floorboard where the blood was. Did
Yes.
you
Yes.
notice
What
that
did you think that was?
that was a clear vagina?
I didn't take that.
Well, it was kind of shaped like one,
I guess. Yeah, like a knot hole in the wood.
and it had like the blood.
Yeah.
So I didn't know how that related, but I was like, that's a vagina, right?
So the way I took it, so they get the blood all over the floor. That's when Cain and Abel have their big fight,
Yeah.
and the blood stain goes everywhere. And she cleans up everything, but like this one spot just gets soaked in that she
Yeah.
can't quite clean up. So she pulls a rug over it and kind of pretends like that never happened.
Yeah.
And then later on in her pregnancy, we see that she has replaced the floorboards entirely and still covers it up because the floorboards are like they don't match the flooring, so
Yeah.
it doesn't look great. And then later on in the movie, like someone when like crazy wild shit is happening, there's like people that are in the house and they're like posing with this like
Oh
bloody
yeah.
spot on the floor and they're like
Yeah.
taking photos together and she's like don't do that and like pulls the rug back over to cover it up. And so the way that I took it is that it's like a critical flaw that she can't fix,
Okay.
like something with the house, with their love, like the central piece that she
Okay.
keeps going back to. And she's like, I wish I could fix this. I've replaced the floorboards around it, I've done everything I can. I'm
But it
gonna have
just
to
keeps
pretend it's not
spreading.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's another thing is like when the people were coming into their house, the way that I took it is that they were taking like pieces of their love. It's like celebrity culture in America. Like
Yeah.
when we see like a filmmaker or an author or an artist and we take their work, the thing that they put their soul into, and we take it and spin it for what we need it to be.
Yeah.
Like who knows what Picasso was thinking when he painted whatever, but the way I look at it, I'm gonna say it's this, and like maybe somebody else thinks it's this.
Yeah.
And just going into like the house of this person, their soul kind of, and taking a piece of it and being like, this one's mine now. Like
Yeah.
you made this one for me.
Okay.
That's how I took the whole like taking apart of the house situation,
Yeah.
because that was a big thing that was more difficult to reconcile. And yeah, just the celebrity culture of like, we want to see the baby. When somebody has a baby, we have to see it. The public
Yeah.
wants to know. Show us your child.
I'm gonna have to take pieces from both of these. Like, I'm gonna hold to the big religion thing,
Yeah.
but I love your take on the love part. Because
Yeah.
I didn't, like I said, I never really kind of put together what the yellow substance was. So that works for me. That really fills that piece of that story for me. I like that.
Yeah. And
That
that's like
works.
the vein that was going through the rock. That's kind of what helped
Yeah.
me piece it together at the end. I was like, oh, that's love. Okay.
Yeah. Which makes sense because he's like, "Do you still love me?" And then
Yeah.
he makes the rock at the end from that.
Yeah.
So I will take that piece. It's a good nugget.
This has
So
been exhausting.
I'm glad we liked them both, though. I mean,
Yeah.
we could have watched a movie and hated it.
Yeah.
You know, when I watched this, though, I was like, I don't know if Kelsey's gonna like this movie.
I love it.
I really didn't know, and Taylor forbade me from saying anything.
I'm glad
She's
you
like,
said nothing.
you can't say anything. No expectations of nothing.
Yeah.
Not that
should
it's
be-
intense. Nothing.
That should be a
So-
rule of ours going forward, is that we just don't talk about the thing until we
That's
do
true.
the thing.
Well, good. Yeah, this was an interesting set.
Yeah.
I feel like now, though, I want to do a double feature of Hereditary and Midsummer, though.
I want that so bad. I've
Because-
not seen Midsummer.
Those are, a bit more thinky, like harder,
Yeah.
I mean, I've read what Midsummer's about. I
Same.
really don't think I'm going to like it,
I don't think I am either.
but I want to watch it still.
It looks like it's going to be a tough watch.
I just don't. It just sounded boring from
Yeah.
what I read.
It sounds boring until it's not.
Yeah. So that might be one that we need to do at some point.
Yeah.
Because I
I don't
still
think
need
we
to
have
see Hereditary.
decided. I don't think we've decided what we're doing for next month yet, have we?
No, not yet.
Okay.
But
yeah. So
if you guys have any suggestions, if you guys like any of these movies, write to us and let us know what you thought.
Yeah. Tell us in the secret Discord. Please watch
Yeah,
these movies. Oh my god. If you haven't watched these yet and you're watching this at the end, like I think even after watching our
even hearing
recap,
about it now, like I'm not a big person who's ruined by spoilers because I feel like I still
yeah.
need to experience it. You can tell me how something ends, and I'm like, yeah, but how did we get there?
Yeah.
Like, I want to get there and feel it when it gets there, you know?
Right.
Because it's not the same as just going, oh, well, here's just on paper, here's what happens. That doesn't mean
Yeah.
anything. When you are in it, it's different, you know?
Yes. These two movies especially, like
Oh, yeah.
you're going to feel when you watch these.
Oh,
So
yeah.
whenever you guys watch these, let us know in the Zeitgeist channel what you think about them because I want to hear what your takeaway was from each of these.
Yeah.
Like if you took away like the toxic relationship, motherhood, female work, that kind of thing, or if you were like, no, actually it's aliens and religion, like let us know.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I just took it as I saw it, man. I, I, I didn't put a lot in there. Well, I did for Mother, but
Yeah. You put in the work there.
yeah.
Well,
So, if you guys have anything else, if you have another double feature type thing, like you think there's
yeah.
two movies that pair really well, because I didn't think these were, and
I
they really
know.
did. Like they really
But
did.
yeah, they really did.
Well, like for you they did. For
For
me,
me,
it's
for you were like
aliens and God.
aliens and
Yeah.
religion.
So
They're both in space.
I want another good double feature or like just similar thing. I don't want two movies in the same. That's kind of my problem with the Midsummer thing.
Yeah,
Because
because
two
they're
movies by
trying
the
to say
same
the
guy.
same thing, kind of, right?
Yeah, it's the same director. It's the same
Yeah,
thing. So I like the idea of two movies that are not related in any way, but yet they connect somehow.
yeah. Maybe make my brain work to string them together.
I think I talked about that on the show one time. How I was in a film class and you had to take two different movies and explain how they were the same.
Oh,
And so I took Dances with Wolves and this sci-fi movie called Enemy Mine,
okay.
and I like said that to the teacher because they didn't approve what we were doing first. I mean, it's college, you know. There was like
Yeah,
do the
just do
work
the
and
thing.
see if it's bad or not. And so I go up to the front to present, and I was like, "Oh, mine are these two movies," and she goes, "Sell it then," because she did not buy it.
Oh,
She was like, "Sell it then," because this is not gonna work. And I was the only one that got an A
oh, damn, nice.
because I did it
Boom.
because I saw the one thing that made them the same. And so I want that from you guys for something else.
Yes, please.
So I'm what? Your cat
I'm
back
just
there? Oh,
exhausted.
okay. I thought you saw your cat and was like, monster. Um, well, I'm glad you enjoyed them. Thank you for watching them with me. I'm
Yes, thank you
sorry that
for
I brought up Mother, but
thank you
not.
for taking this journey with me.
So yeah, thank you guys. Hope you had a good time. We'll be back next month for some more stuff.
Yes.
So don't forget to tune in next time to get the answer to that burning question. Do you still love me? Is there still love in there?
There's still love in there.